It's time for Twig This Week in Google, our last episode of 2022. We've got the Festivus poll already. We're going to celebrate the advent of winter and talk about, well, everything except Elon. I feel sorry for him. Have I mentioned that? It's coming up next. This Week in Google with Stacy, and Jeff. Stay here.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 695, recorded Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. The airing of grievances. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by FastMail. Reclaim your privacy, boost productivity, and make email yours with FastMail. Try it free for 30 days. Fastmail.com/twit. FastMail's also giving TWiT listeners a 15% discount on the first year when you sign up today at fastmail.com/twit. Thanks for listening to this show as an ad-supported network. We are always looking for new partners with products and services that will benefit our qualified audience. Are you ready to grow your business? Reach out to advertise@twit.tv and launch your campaign now. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google, the show where we talk about Google, Twitter, Facebook, Elon, Twitter, Facebook, Google, and all of the other stuff. Stacey Higginbotham is here, but really we're on a short leash today. At any moment, she could just throw up her hands and leave. So,
or just throw up.
Oh,
whichever. Either way. So thrilled to see you. Last show of the year, Stacey. Your long nightmare is almost over. 2 weeks off. We'll be gone next week. We'll do the best of, and then we'll be back January 4th. And it starts all over again. Jeff Jarvis is here. He's the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Hello, Mr. Jarvis.
Hello, boss. How are you?
I am great. Jeff's going to be with us for our special holiday, our Christmas twit. I brought in all the old timers. So it's you, Steve Gibson, Paul Theragun, and Doc Searles. Old white men yelling at Christmas. It's going to be a great episode.
Paul's grumpier than I knew.
Oh, yeah, he's super grumpy.
Yeah, I didn't realize quite.
Yeah,
he's funny grumpy. It's good grumpy. It's amusing, entertaining grumpy.
You know who's always cheerful?
It comes out differently than Windows Weekly.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You know he's always cheerful.
I just don't understand what he's grumpy about on Windows Weekly. I guess that's the difference.
Yeah, it's because he uses Windows. You'd be grumpy, too.
Yeah.
Mr. Ant Pruitt is here. He is ready. He's got his cigar jammed in his mouth. He's got his hat jammed on his head. And he's ready
It's supposed to be a hat, but it's actually just a stocking.
Oh, somebody sent you a stocking full of cigars, which is pretty cool. You know, if you just had a little gaffer's tape, you could just attach that to your head.
Yeah. Speaking of gaffer's tape.
Look, there's a roll. Now, that's not duct tape.
Never has it around.
There's always gaffer's tape on my desk.
Gaffer's tape's the greatest stuff. Yeah,
maybe we'll figure this out.
Just put make a round one. Yeah. So we lead off with this terrible news from the subreddit. Data is beautiful. They like to do graphs about data. They do all sorts of stuff. This is life expectancy by occupation for people with a Wikipedia page. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Of course, right at the top, longest life expectancy, billionaires, because they don't have to deal with the day-to-day crap the rest of us do, right? Then biochemists, I don't know why, conservationists, geneticists, neuroscientists, archivists.
Well, they're all cheating, doing something to their genes and their biology.
Maybe you need "ist" in your title to sociologists, ecologists.
They don't do anything. Sociologists,
statisticians, psychologists. Yeah, this is all people who don't do anything. Philanthropists, psychoanalysts. What do? They sit there and listen to you.
They sit on a couch.
Business women. As far as I can tell, there was no business men category.
That's because the men is understood.
It's understood. That's what makes you unique. Meteorologists, microbiologists. Now, we're going to go to the very bottom. ... These are the people who have short life expectancy. As you might expect, drummers right on the top there.
Nationalists?
Nationalists. Explorers. Now, this is on Wikipedia.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, explorers. Yeah, of course. They run into lions and stuff. Dissidents. They don't do well. Soldiers. Guitarists, which this surprised me because I thought drummers certainly would go faster than guitarists, but no.
It's not very far apart. The drugs are about the same.
Spies, that's a bad habit. Spies, they go fast.
Spies is probably less. They just don't get on Wikipedia.
If
They
you're
probably
good
die quicker.
These are the bad
Good
spies. They
point.
should say that. Bad
These are the
spies.
bad spies.
These are the ones that got caught. Princesses, they're very low. But I think princesses probably is skewed a little bit by Diana, right? Keyboardists,
Yeah.
worse than guitarists and drummers. But you know who's worse than keyboardists? Princes. And then royalty in general, very poor. Very poor. Revolutionaries. And then, wait a minute, what's that? Podcasters?
Oh, no.
no.
We're the only people who have
outlived your time already.
the only people who have worse
Yeah.
life expectancy are kickboxers and rappers.
Oh, my gosh.
So what's the actual median age of the four of us?
We're way, look, it looked like most
The two of us
podcasters
push it up.
don't even get to 48. So, obviously you and I
I'm
are
44, so
Yeah, just watch out, Stacy.
I'm
maybe
in
should-
trouble.
You should
Oh,
switch
boy.
your career to billionaire as quickly as you can.
Well, technically, I'm
Or
a journalist.
sociologist.
Yeah, our journalists aren't even on this list.
We aren't even on here.
No. Why are journalists not? Maybe you're in the middle. You're in the middle somewhere.
Yeah,
Have to
we're
be.
probably.
Journalists have wikis.
Yeah.
Some of them do,
No,
right?
you see the
I
dot.
don't.
That's all that's the fly.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the flyover life
others.
expectancies. Yeah.
A flyer.
That's
People
the
who don't
ones
matter.
That don't matter.
They're gone. We don't care.
They're journalists. Can you believe podcasters? I saw this, and this is not made up. You would think this is, but no, this is the data is beautiful. These are data scientists. They scrape the data from Wikipedia, and podcasters are right down there at the bottom.
But I wonder, what is this based on? Is this like
Who is
artists-
skewing us? Who are the
depression?
famous?
Is it violence?
Why?
health,
You're saying
poor
why?
health?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of comedians who are podcasters,
Oh,
and those
they die
people
young.
can do a lot of
Comedians are
drugs.
usually
die
very
young.
sad,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It's a
Yeah.
good thing we're webcasters.
Netcasters.
Netcaster, sir. Get it
Netcasters,
right,
oh,
Mr.
shoot.
Get it,
Travis.
I
Jeff.
messed up the punchline. Jeez.
There's probably a good reason for this. It's a newer profession. Anybody who's died in it died young because, how long could you have been a podcaster for or
Well,
something?
I want to know YouTubers because those people do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the article about Logan Paul? Scammer? He does it. He's a Jeff. You know who Logan Paul is because you follow all this
Barely.
VidCon stuff.
Yeah, some, but not much. I don't look
I
at
mix him up with his brother.
Yeah.
Is
Logan.
that Paul Logan?
No, the other Paul. But Logan Paul does, I think he's the one who set the mattress on fire. They were all living in a room.
Like stunt
and stuff
videos
like that. Yeah,
or
it's
prank
stunt.
videos?
It's stunt.
Yeah.
It's stunt. And
He's a
apparently,
professional wrestler.
here it is. How influencers hype crypto without disclosing their financial ties. Logan Paul's one of them. This is I don't know who took this picture, but this
That
is
picture is amazing.
that look on his
Logan
face.
Paul, a 27-year-old boxer and social media influencer. But then I'm really curious who this guy is. Is he a journalist? Maybe he's one of those short-lived podcasters you hear about. It's the strangest picture. It looks like they're on
You
Wall
sit all day
Street.
just talking, and that's what happens
Yeah.
to your rear end.
It's very strange. Anyway, enough of that. We don't need to go into Logan Paul. But I think he had another
We don't.
NFT rug pull, which he swore this is not a rug pull. But you know what? NFTs at this point. I mean, look at the Trump NFTs. It's obvious. They're just scam. They're grifts, all of them at this point, right?
I was about to say that's something to give you a reason to give them money.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's all it is.
That's all it
It's
is.
money laundering.
Yeah. So Stacy put a story in here, so we're going to do it. Stacy is fascinated by artificial intelligence, as we all are. Stable Diffusion, ChatGPT, DALL-E 2. Well, there's a new one. The folks who gave you ChatGPT have now done a new AI. This is from OpenAI, Point E, an AI that generates 3D models.
Okay,
Doing
this isn't
everything.
actually my story, but this is an interesting story.
No, all right. I thought, wait a minute.
I'm like,
Oh, the one above, the Roomba. Okay, we got some good stories.
it's okay. We we can talk about point E. I mean, the
We
rubric
will.
kind of ties to the MSG stuff. So.
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, the MSG story really pissed me off. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So I think you're going to see now suddenly this explosion of AI applied to everything. 3D models.
So let's talk about the recursive nature of all this, because I'm fascinated by what GPT chat can do and can't do, and the limitations of some of the Stable Diffusion, Lensa, all of these. Because, basically because something is trained on all this existing data and it's pretty much regurgitating bits of that, the argument is like, oh, does it create something new? I don't know. It does. But how do we create truly new things if we're building on top of this? And this kind of gets to the artist's rights, but I'm really just fascinated by, again, if we start generating all of this and create so much copy that is AI generated or art that's AI generated, does it become
You use the
less,
right word, I think. Recursive. The world becomes
does it
recursive.
become less valuable over time, more nonsensical?
Well,
what happens when you don't put anything new into the system?
There's a few interesting. There was a story out last week that said that we're going to run out of data to train AI, which I think is absurd. But I think you're right, Stacey. I think I was writing a post today that's not done, but I think that content becomes just simply less valuable because anybody can make content. You can tell a machine to make content. It becomes whatever. To your point, though, what's interesting?
Good content.
Okay, sorry.
Becomes more valuable.
Or art. I don't know. What is it?
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But the other thing, I reread the Stochastic Parrots, or Stochastic Pirates. I like that.
I like that too.
And you can see there's a generational problem as it declines in quality as it gets parsed through many generations. Parrots turned into pirates.
Pirates. But the other I like
Stochastic Parrots is the one that Timnit Gebru
and what's her name?
Williamson.
I forget her name.
I forgot her name now. Too.
No,
yeah.
Forget her name.
Anyway,
but there's to me one thing. I said this to somebody today on Mastodon because Stacey, to your point, I think we've got to know what brand of AI we're talking to. By this I mean it's one that reflects the world as it is on the internet with all its biases and limitations and exclusions.
Yes.
Or it's one that is trained in a curatorial manner with limitations. We only gave it the stuff so we make sure we get better stuff. Which one is it? I think the reflective is not necessarily bad to the extent that it says, this is the world you made, folks. Blame yourselves. The curatorial is difficult. And we're going to see different, I think, efforts of understanding which AI we're talking to.
That's a good point. And I would say on the curatorial side, there's no perfect AI, right? I mean, so it's kind of like when you visit another country, you just accept that they do things differently here, right? Some people don't like visiting countries because that's what happens. So I think every AI model is going, depending on who trained it and what values were ascribed to what it's doing, every AI model is going to have their own little biases or cultures.
Absolutely.
If we stop calling it, I mean, we probably should keep calling it biases because right now there are lots of actual harmful things. But if we start calling it culture, how does that change how we might think about it? Because, I could build an AI that, recognizing that I built an AI that is harmful to women or Black people, I can try to adjust that. And then I should say, though, that, this is the culture I'm trying to build. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about
yes, there's a disclosure.
Because people think, and this drives me absolutely bonkers. People think because it is technology, because it's AI or data driven, that it's neutral, and it's not. Not just because we haven't assigned these things to it. Yeah, or accurate.
That's exactly the point of Stochastic Parrots, is that we are going to ascribe more value to it because it's somehow, a computer generated, and it's a machine, and we shouldn't, right, Jeff? Am I summarizing that accurately?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's that it brings the limitations and biases and exclusions of the world with it, and that there's an ethical responsibility to then deal with that. To Stacey's point, though, but how do you get your hands around it enough to say, okay, I can guarantee this is not biased against women? Well, what does that mean? How do you guarantee that Is that a skewed view of the world? Is that
how do you define women? Is it built by TERFs?
Bingo.
Well, so by the way, Margaret Schmitchell is the other author, yes, along with Timnit Gebru and Angelina McMillan Major and Emily Bender. They wrote this. This was the piece that got Margaret Mitchell and Timnit Gebru fired from Google because Google said, well, this is what we're doing. so
Emily Bender is very good on Mastodon. She and
I'll have to follow
both
her.
on Mastodon.
I'll have to follow.
Bender's very good. She talks a lot about bad media coverage of AI, going overboard and losing their breath about how wonderful it is and amazing it is. Let's be realistic about what it can do, which is Stacey's point, I think.
They conclude, we have identified a wide variety of costs and risks associated with the rush for ever larger language models, including environmental costs. We know, for instance, ChatGPT,
that's a big point of hers. Yeah.
Sam Altman says, burns $3 million a day, and that's, of course, almost all electricity. It's a very expensive thing to do. And by the way, the environmental costs are borne typically by those not benefiting from the resulting technology. Financial costs, which in turn erect barriers to entry, limiting who can contribute to this research area, which languages can benefit from the most advanced techniques. You see a lot of it's in English, probably a lot of it in Chinese as well, right? Opportunity cost as researchers pour away effort from directions requiring less resources. And then, of course, the risk of substantial harm, stereotyping, denigration, increases in extremist ideology, wrongful arrest, which we've seen, of course, with face recognition. We're going to get to that particular subject in a second.
Yep.
So they say NLP researchers should carefully weigh those risks while pursuing this research direction and consider whether the benefits outweigh the risks. I think that's a very appropriate thing. That's exactly why you hire Timnit Gebru and Margaret Mitchell at Google to be, ethical AI, to be the people, saying, hey, be careful here. And as soon as they did it, Google said, well, no, you don't want to be careful.
Well, it's not just be careful. I think the messaging that we have against them is kind of like, it portrays them as kind of like prim or schoolmarmish, like, oh, ethics, oh, wokeness. I think the message here isn't just be careful. It is, this is not value neutral. And that has big
Very
implications,
right,
positive and negative, right? Like, and I think Google and all the companies, they cynically want to sell you this concept of technology as a solution. And you know who has bought into it? And this is driving me nuts because it affects our privacy. The government. The government is like really bought into this. And by the government, I mean federal government. I mean your municipal governments who are like, someone says data driven, they're using it as an excuse to avoid making hard policy decisions.
Exactly. That's another important part of this Stochastic Parrots paper. We note the risks associated with synthetic but seemingly coherent text are deeply connected to the fact that such synthetic text can enter into conversations without any person or entity being accountable for it. This accountability both involves responsibility for truthfulness and is important in situating meaning because, and this is where people go, well, it's got to be true. It's data-driven, right? And you're right. That's how people avoid responsibility. Well, your city council says, well, we got the data. The data told us this. It's not our responsibility.
Well,
anyway.
that's the other part about this is that NLP, I've said this again and again on the show, though what I've learned about it is that it only predicts the next best word.
Right.
The next word that is best.
Right.
It does not deal with facts.
Well, it doesn't understand content at all, really. Right.
It doesn't understand content at all. It is just what is going to sound right to the human ear based on what we produce in the past. That's all it does. So there's a story I put in the rundown, which you'll ignore anyway.
No, I don't want to change the subject, so hold on a second. One more thought.
No, it's the same subject.
No, but one more thought. I just wanted to respond to Stacey's original point, which I think was well taken. If all content is generated by AI, who's going to generate the new stuff? And I do think there's a point to be made there, Stacey, but I remember my English teacher in high school saying there's only 3 stories. You have to know your Homer, you have to know your Bible, and you have to know your Shakespeare. Then you know every story. So all creativity is based on, not all, but
prior art.
A lot of it's
We've added another story. We've added, man versus man versus nature.
Oh, now we have man versus machine. Yeah.
Man versus machine. What's the other one? Man versus man, nature, Man versus the gods? What? No.
No, we had that all along. That was the first one.
Man versus himself.
Oh,
himself,
yes.
other men, nature.
Yeah.
And now we've added machines. I would argue maybe society. I mean, if you look at a lot of like kind of the literature, I don't know about society. Anyway, I would say we've
That's
added
kind of man versus
more.
himself, right? I'm going to tell
versus
Mr.
society?
Leonard. Mr. Leonard, we got 2 more.
And you know, the other flip side is like there are only 41 stories and Shakespeare's written all of them.
Right.
So I don't. I mean, but you're right. I mean, and that's what.
That's a good question, though. Is where's the new stuff come from? Where's this?
Well, but here's I said this on the show last week that when Montaigne did his essays, history moment, he set the bar for joining the public conversation as being a writer. And what's freaking out professors and teachers about ChatGPT is we'll never know whether the student really wrote it or not. And I'm seeing creative teachers have ideas about, well, maybe you have the student judge the ChatGPT and look into its logic and look into its facts and decide whether it's any good or not. But the point
That's
is
what they do with Wikipedia.
The special
isn't
privilege.
They say Wikipedia is a starting point, not your essay.
Right. But the point becomes that the privilege that all of us here have as writers kind of goes away. It's not so special anymore. And so where does the value lie then? I think it lies in thought and conversation and lived experience and unique ways to say things. And it potentially opens that up and says content is a commodity. Look at hot takes, all the hot takes in Atlantic and New York Times columnists and all over. We're overdone with hot
Thanks
takes.
to Twitter, it's commoditized. Podcasts and Twitter.
So there's something else, Leo, that I don't think it's a new kind of content. I think it's more around, in my view, it's always about recapturing conversation. It's about connections with people. It's about valuing lived experiences that were not part of mass media.
And to steal a page from your book, I mean, you've always said the internet it's too early, it's so new. AI is even newer. So we don't yet know how it's going to be incorporated. I think as a chess player, I think back 20 years ago when the first computers beat the world champion, and now computers are regularly accepted to be better than any human ever could be by a long shot. And at the time, I think a lot of us said, well, that's it for chess. No human's going to ever want to play a game that the computer can beat him every single time. But it actually hasn't. And a couple of things that have happened, I think will happen with AI as well. A lot of modern chess is a collaboration between humans and computers. So they'll use computers to do analyses on a position, but the humans will add this human element to it. And there's still a very active and exciting and entertaining process of watching humans compete against each other. We try really hard to keep the computer out of those competitions, but in preparation, they're very much used.
As a journalist, I think some of the stories that most journalists hate writing, like, oh God,
ChatGPT could do those. The city council meeting.
Well,
financial reports.
I actually think sports, financial reports. I think city council meetings are worth getting. Like, that's where your experience can come into play, and ChatGPT probably will fail.
You could write, ChatGPT could write the base. Here's what happened, as it does with sports and finance. Right. The human is the one who has to understand what happened.
Right, exactly. And provide context, like, hey, this happened here, or this person has this. And I think, I mean, Jeff, you're sweet for saying that I'm a writer, but I'm not. I think that's where reporting, we went like, after like Hunter S. Thompson and Joe Didion and all these like luminaries of like feature writing came out, everyone was like, Rick Bragg, everyone was like, I am a writer.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot of value in journalism. Mm-hmm. And I think that will come back out, and we can kind of create
to some degree that happened in chess. We value human chess games higher now. Those are.
I want to hear Ant on this in terms of illustration. You
said a second ago how chess is.
That's not okay. If you're not watching video, just forget what I said. But Ant's got a strange
interesting hat
taped to his head.
No, but you were talking about the human element versus the computer element inside of a chess match. And me as an outsider looking into the game of chess, I'm to the point where it seems like all chess is just a calculated move.
It is. That's why computers are so good at it. But
it doesn't seem like there's any type of human element in it.
No, there is.
Versus, say, like the poker table.
Yeah,
because
it's more luck.
Because poker is very calculating, but at the same time, a wink of an eye or
Sure.
a twitch or something is that human element that can change a hand. In chess, is it the same way?
No, not at all.
Because I just see it as just data.
Yeah, I mean, at its root, it is data. And actually, I guess you could say it's almost like a competition between humans and a calculator who can calculate the largest division, and obviously a calculator is always going to win. Humans can only do so much. That's the same thing with chess, although there's a certain amount of intuition. But yeah, although some chess players say, he's psyching me out, the way he's looking, the way he's acting, and there's certainly
so they do have that. Okay.
But you know what? The difference is just like the cards speak. Unlike poker, you see the whole position. There's no mystery going on. So I think psychology has there's no bluffing in chess.
No bluffing, right.
You can act like you won, but if you haven't, it's going to quickly become evident.
You can freak somebody out.
All I know is your queen is still there, dude. So that's
exactly. One of the problems we talked about was with Lensa and AI, and there was a good Wired article about this, making sexist images of women, not men.
Yeah.
But this is correctable, and I just wanted to show you. I had a week ago generated a bunch of pictures of my wife, some of which I can't show you. They're not safe for work. But I just did the same thing, same pictures, and then now it's doing Christmas pictures, by the way, and they're fantastic. I think
that is lovely.
They're much better, and there's no cleavage. There's none of the weirdness that they did to Lisa. She will be much happier, although she did save some of those.
She put a few of them up.
Sexy
online.
pictures, yeah. That's about as sexy as it gets.
I pissed off Sam on Twitter because I said that it looked like it was run by a horny teenage boy.
It was creepy. It was creepy.
Just look at it. And obviously they've listened to the public.
They did something. They flipped the switch.
This is the curation point.
Exactly.
You curate the data in, but you also limit the data out.
There must be a setting. Well,
angelic setting.
Yeah, there's something going on.
This is like elven fairy princess setting.
Yeah, there's different categories. So, and I wanted to do this because they have
I love Lord of the Rings.
But these are beautiful. These are
those
like
nice
paintings. They're really good. And so that's an example of a human going, yeah, we better fix that, and changing the parameters and making something that's really fantastic.
So I'm trying to get to Ant on this. Ant, as a photographer and an artist, and especially a portrait person. How do you portrait person? That wasn't what I was trying to say. Portrait artist. How do you look at this in a few ways? Both the competitive angle of being able to illustrate profiles with this, but also the input side of it. That surely some of the portraits you've done somewhere are in here teaching the machine. How do you look at this?
Yeah, if it's something scrapable, like I believe we mentioned this last week, Fine Art America, that's where your a lot of my prints are coming from. That's public, and if an AI wants to scrape that to try to train itself, it clearly can, because it's public and not something that I can just take away unless I physically take it down, if you will. But when it comes to just doing portraits, I still don't believe this AI is going to take me out or take any other photographers out, because there's a certain human connection that's involved in that portrait session that a computer can't replicate. These prompts you better be really, really good at your prompts to make them look good, because you can just put in, I need a portrait of somebody sitting on the beach at sunset, and it'll put something out there and it may not look that good. And then you start adding in all of these additional parameters, and next thing you know, an hour later, you're still moving the sliders around in this AI and it still isn't quite right, when you could have just hired a photographer to do it,
I recently followed a woman who is a graphic artist who said she's pulling all of her public stuff off. And
that's fair, because it's feeding the algorithms.
Yeah.
Well, and what's interesting is when you upload those photos of Lisa, those become part of the training data, right?
Yeah, all of a sudden, huh?
So
yeah.
Now, what's interesting is if Ant, let's say Ant took some amazing photos of me and I uploaded them, then by my actions, Ant has lost control of his ability to pull his art from there, which,
and I found this interesting the other day. I was playing in Stable Diffusion. You remember when we talked about podcasts having lunch or podcaster having lunch as a
Yeah, that was a Mid-Journey thing we did when we first started doing this. Yeah.
Right. So I pretty much did the same thing in Stable Diffusion. I had the prompt in front of me and it said podcaster having lunch in the style of an animation, glow on effect. And the result fascinated me. This is what it came up with.
Oh, I like it. First of all, it wasn't a guy anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, what triggered that?
Yeah.
So something's going on with these generators, because they see that there's a lot of diversity out there when it comes to something like podcasting. Now, there's some other things from the diversity standpoint that still needs a little work, but who knows? It's getting a little better.
Which is really all you can ask with this sort of stuff, is that when you put this stuff out there, you explain as much as you can what you're trying to do, and then you accept constructive criticism, and then you adjust. I mean, it's basically like how to be a decent person, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Same things you teach your daughter.
Right.
Moving on, let's talk about, since we were talking about facial recognition, we'll get to your story in a second, but we should set it up with this story from Madison Square Garden. I think probably a lot of people saw it. It got a lot of coverage. Mom was bringing her daughter to Radio City Music Hall the weekend after Thanksgiving. It was a Girl Scout field trip to see the Christmas show with the Rockettes and everything. But while her daughter, other members of the Girl Scout troop, and their mothers got to go to the show, this mother, Kelly Conlon, was not allowed in. Face recognition caught her as she entered. Security guards approached her as she got into the lobby. She said, I heard them say, woman with long dark hair and gray scarf. She was asked her name, asked to produce identification. They said, face recognition picked you up. She says she posed no threat, but the guards kicked her out with the explanation they knew she was an attorney. They knew my name before I told them. They knew the firm I was associated with before I told them. And they told me I was not allowed to be there. MSG Entertainment, which owns Madison Square Garden, was apparently...
Which is a bilious company
huge,
with bilious owners.
Huge.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah. She works for a law firm, Davis, Saperstein, and Solomon, which has been involved in a personal injury lawsuit against a restaurant venue owned by MSG. She says, I don't practice in New York. I'm not an attorney that works on any cases against MSG, but all attorneys from her firm are banned, and they used face recognition to recognize those attorneys and block them from entering. That's their right, isn't it?
Hey,
you can keep somebody out of the investigation, right?
Yeah. The whole scheme, says one of her partners, is a pretext for doing collective punishment on adversaries who would dare sue MSG in their multi-billion-dollar network.
Well, I mean, what's wrong with this is the human piece, is the Dolans, and I've worked with them, and I had Cablevision for a while, and I worked on one of their cable networks here in New Jersey. It's an awful, awful company. It's a terrible company.
And so the policy reflects poorly there on them. Yeah.
Yeah. How you
will never see the Rockettes again, Jeff.
Well, but speaking of which, that is the most boring thing on earth, even with the camels.
It's a tradition. Knock it off.
They
have camels too.
Wow.
I was just a mom taking my daughter to see a Christmas show, she's told NBC New York. I did wait outside. It was embarrassing. It was mortifying. Of course it was.
Well, her daughter was inside. She was outside. That's just awful.
Well, the thing is, if this was... Why wasn't she privy to this information? Is it because she's too low on the totem pole, if you will? Is that the phrase?
MSG says we told that law firm twice they would not be allowed in, that they knew what the policy was. So they said, she ought to know. She's not going to come in. By the way, they are now challenging them because MSG has a liquor license, which requires them to admit members of the public unless there are people who would be disruptive or constitute a security threat. So they may actually have grounds to get them, or cost them their liquor
there's
license.
There's a lot that's covered under like, hey, it's a private business. We refuse the right to serve people, right?
Yes.
We have the right to refuse service.
Yeah.
But there's also the government, there's a public interest in most members of the public being allowed to go to places that they expect to be allowed in. Like this is a classic issue of public rights versus private rights, right? And the new angle here is the ability to enforce it against more people using this kind of technology to actually limit them from coming in. So now you're saying you can actually, because usually if you're going to, what's the word I'm looking for? Discriminate against an individual person, you've had actual interactions with them, right? Like, they're James Corden in your whatever restaurant he got banned from, right? So and there's a reason, right?
He apologized, by the way, and it's been allowed back in. I just want to say.
They're not charged in a court of law, but they're like, well, he's behaved badly. They don't.
Yeah, you behave like a jerk. It's their right to but she wasn't behaving like a jerk, I guess. But
here's the issue. Their contention could be that anybody who behaves like a jerk, like someone who's a jerk to them on Twitter, does that mean they shouldn't, now that you have easy access to this imagery and facial recognition, at what level do you, and this is a public-private interest kind of claim. And so I think this should go all the way to the courts. And I really want to see what happens here, because this is exactly the sort of governmental policy we need to start thinking about.
Well, you got to remember we have a Supreme
Musk killing accounts on Twitter.
You got to remember we have a Supreme Court that said it's okay not to bake a cake for a gay couple, or
yes, but we still have. I don't love our current Supreme Court, but this is what we're set up to do, so we should probably do it. And knowing that this sort of thing is going to come up a lot in the next few years, maybe we should think about our court
just think about it. What if the Dolans decide, we don't like podcasters,
right?
We're just going to block all podcasters. They own.
So then we get to the question of a place of public accommodation,
right?
And which is a restaurant, which they can do. But is there a point at which it's no? This is truly public. You have to let people in. The same question will come with Twitter. The same issues get raised with Musk killing accounts of journalists there, and we get our up in arms, and I'm up in arms about it because he's just a jerk. But he had the right to do it. He could throw people off Twitter. He owns it now.
I feel like a physical place somehow seems like it should be more open than, say, a social network. But I guess that's just an old-fashioned point of view, that Twitter is no different than Madison
Well, I don't
Square
want
Garden.
Twitter to be named a place of public accommodation that must be open, because that would force you. That's what the Republicans want to do. The Republicans want to say, you must carry our noxious speech. You are not allowed to moderate. You do not have a freedom of expression around.
Is it different if the Dolans decided we're not going to allow Donald Trump into the Radio City Music Hall? Is that different from Twitter saying we're not going to allow Donald Trump to post on Twitter?
That's the question. That's exactly
Twitter
the question.
is less of a, the government has not said that there is no rules around social media. We have not said that everyone has a right to be on social media. The government has, through liquor licenses, there is a recognition in our laws that people are generally allowed into places where the public can gather, right? Whether it's a coffee shop, yes, you can charge tickets, but we have established laws around that. And so to be kicked out of that requires, one, you have to do something bad, or you have to, violate a policy. And it's done not through some mechanism across a large place. It's done at an individual level as you try to walk in the door. Now, if this person, I suppose, would it make it better if everybody who was doing security at Madison Square Garden had a list of photos of all of the lawyers, and then they were like, okay? The ease at which you can do this makes it a little more concerning, I guess.
Then there's the case of Scale AI, this is the story you put in, which is really an interesting story. Scale AI is a contractor in Venezuela, or they hire people in Venezuela, probably in other places around the world, to review and label audio, photos, and video data for training artificial intelligence. Same thing, right? They gather it from wherever they can. In the fall of 2020, according to the MIT Technology Review, gig workers in Venezuela posted a series of images to online forums where they gathered to talk shop. These photos were mundane, if sometimes intimate household scenes captured from low angles, including some you really wouldn't want shared on the internet. In one particularly revealing shot, a young woman in a lavender T-shirt sits on the toilet, her shorts pulled down to mid-thigh. The images are not taken by a person, but by a Roomba, by development versions of iRobot's Roomba J7 series vacuum, sent to Scale AI to be...
Wait. Development versions. So this was not a customer who just bought it. It was a special version?
Unclear.
It's a customer who opts in, I believe, and I have not confirmed this. This is a customer who opts into like
a beta.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, it's like when you have
impact.
It's
stupid,
well,
but it still has impact.
So let me give you what the story says.
when-
All of them came from special development robots with hardware and software modifications that are not and never were present on iRobot consumer products for purchase, according to the company. They were given to paid collectors. I guess information collectors.
Data collectors.
And employees who signed written agreements
not
acknowledging
fuzzball collectors.
Right. Acknowledging they were sending data streams, including video, back to the company for training purposes. According to iRobot, the devices were labeled with a bright green sticker that read video recording in progress. And it was up to those paid data collectors to remove anything they deemed sensitive from any space the robot operates in, including...
So they kind of knew what they were getting into here.
Yeah.
You had a Roomba that was looking at you, and you had a responsibility to monitor it.
By the way, MIT published the photos. So if you're curious...
Jeez, that's
going a little far.
Okay, well, hold on. So the reason I put this in here wasn't actually, to me, they buried the lead. And I understand why they buried the lead. But here's the big story that we should be talking about, which is, it's somewhere down in the story. Together, the images reveal an entire data supply chain and new points where personal information could leak out that few consumers are even aware of. And this comes back to things that we talked about with Amazon and data utterances. Remember when everybody was upset because Amazon, Apple, and Google sent actual utterances to people for annotation to say like, hey, is this right? Did we do what we were supposed to do? So the AI could get better. So I think the issue here is twofold. One, consumers need to understand what sensors are on their devices and pay attention to it. Like we have a little bit of a respect. Like if someone says, hey, has a camera on it, maybe you don't put it in your bathroom. But two, companies have, but
if it's a vacuum cleaner that's wandering around, you might
it's
not
doing
think
its
that.
job.
Well, and the other thing is the person who brought this into the house may not be the girl. This is why I always tell everybody in my household, the sensors on every device I bring in.
You don't
there's a consent.
MIT has
There's a
technology
consent issue in there.
MIT Technology Review has a picture of a 9-year-old boy who couldn't legally give consent, right? But his picture was in that data set.
And then the other thing is companies should be, I think iRobot handled this well in the sense that they publicly said, hey, we're going to fire Scale AI. Like they obviously didn't handle this data correctly, but companies need to probably implement better ways to handle personal consumer data and ensure that their contractors, which of course they're going to be using, does this correctly, which is something bigger companies are more likely to do than startups. Like startups are all willy-nilly with your data. Like look at Uber and their God mode and early Ring camera things.
But it's not like iRobot has just hopped onto the scene. They've been around a while. They know.
Well, but they clearly had. I mean, this company, the people who work at this company violated their existing like contract terms with iRobot. That's why they fired them. Yeah. Now, I could say something like, hey, when a Roomba goes into a bathroom, automatically turn off the camera. That's something they could do.
Right.
They could also say, hey, no phones and no internet connections when someone is trying to annotate data. That way this data it's harder to get out, right? But that's a lot. I mean, so these are things like debates will probably be happening inside companies.
And of course, the other message is to all of our listeners, you aren't being paranoid when you're saying no cameras in the house, that it is not unreasonable that sometimes humans see those images and you don't really know and you don't really control it. Roomba and Scale AI fired those people, but people were looking at those images.
It doesn't help that we have Madame A's in our houses, and then the media go out and do a story about it. They're all in the New York Post just to this today. They're all listening to you all the time, and there's no gradation to.
Yeah, that's a good point on the other side, which is just don't assume that everything is doing this. You got to be somewhat intelligent. On the other hand, it's kind of hard to know.
Well, and so here, y'all, I set you up for this. Here's where I think the U.S. government could help, because right now they're working on a cybersecurity label. The focus is on both cybersecurity, and it was going to be on privacy. They brought people in to talk about privacy, and then the government basically said, I don't know about privacy. That's real hard. We don't want to make that call. And so this is a place where we could, as part of the cybersecurity label that should come out in spring of next year, they should place data on what sensors are on a device. Does this have a camera? Like, you don't necessarily expect your robotic vacuum to have a camera, for example. Does it light up? Maybe you should make it light up. So making it more aware, or making consumers more aware of what's on their devices, has importance. So, and that could actually happen. It's not right now going to happen. That's not where the government's interest is. But, if we complain enough about it, it's possible that they would do it.
Here's Stacy's article, Stacy on IoT.com. We should talk about consent in IoT. And of course, that is very appropriate with the news that Eufy was, in effect, lying that their images were not sent off over the internet from their cameras.
I have 9 rules for consent. They're all down there. That's kind of a lot of rules.
You couldn't come up with 10. You couldn't come up with an even
one
number.
more.
One more.
I'm a really
Let's give Stacey
bad.
another rule.
You're bad at link bait, kid. You got to say.
I really am.
The title of this headline should be 10 things you need to know about IoT privacy.
Yes.
10 rules to protect you and your family from horrible technology.
It's a listicle, Stacey, and you didn't even go for the listicle.
And it's so long. My husband's like, my God, Stacey, just put these things in there. I'm like, oh, I'm bad.
Provide transparency about your data collection practices.
Let's look at the
yes. Provide transparency around the sensors inside the device. Yeah, if there's a camera in there, you should say there's a camera in there and a microphone. Protect the user's data through encryption, at rest, and in motion. Absolutely. Promote safe data practices with partners. Absolutely. That's part of the problem with this Scale AI, right? Develop a clear practice around the use of data after a merger acquisition. Big story there, right?
Yeah.
Look at that owl cam that I have, the dash cam, which went bankrupt, closed their doors. Somebody bought them. I guess they got all the videos of me singing in my car, picking my nose, mooning the other drivers. It's all there. Develop and explain your data.
Says Leo. Yeah.
Develop and explain your data deletion policy and give consumers a chance to delete their data. Absolutely. GDPR kind of requires that, right?
Yes.
Promise users.
Yeah, I wrote this in 2020.
Oh, really? Oh, you're prescient. Yeah. You are so ahead of the curve. Promise users the device will work for X number of years. God, we know that story. Look at Wink. Patch devices and Owl. Owl stopped working. Patch devices in the wake of new vulnerabilities. Again, if you could, Anchor, sold that camera. Wise sold that camera that they couldn't patch. They couldn't patch. Push users to ask for consent from others in their environment. Yeah, especially if you have kids. These are good, Stacy.
It's very good.
These are really good.
Since you didn't do
there's a reason I do what I do. Y'all.
You're good at it.
How do I find it on your site? Because I want to actually use that for something I'm working on.
Stacy on IoT consent. But you know what, Jeff? I have a PowerPoint all about consent.
Ooh,
so I can share. I can send that
seriously
to you.
send that to me? Yes.
Is it called
Yeah. I send it to
No
lots of
means no?
No, it probably is called like
10 things you need to know.
Ask. That one only has 7 rules, I think. But yeah.
Stacy, 5 or 10, not 9
or 3.
7.
3's good too.
Jeez.
If you want to be really
Three's fine.
terse.
3's fine. All right, let me ask Stacey one more
3510.
question. It can be one thing, but what is the mutual obligation from the purchaser, the user? What should we expect of them? Anything?
The purchaser to the user?
No, the purchaser, the person who buys the IoT. You put this stuff in your house. Do you have an obligation? Is there something we should expect of you?
Yes, I have an obligation. That's like, I think it's rule number 8.
If you had read the articles, Jeff, you would know rule 8.
No. But it's push users. So my job when I buy a connected device is to understand what it does and then to tell everybody in my environment what it does. Good. And my husband and I actually fight about this sometimes. Like when we put cameras up when we're gone and like the housekeepers are going to come, he's like, I want to tell them. I want to say, hey, by the way, we put up cameras because we're out of town. And he's like, no, I don't want them to know there are cameras. I was like, if your end goal is for them not to steal our stuff, telling them there are cameras is going to be fine.
Who won?
I did. I always win.
Of course she did. Come on, really? It was a rhetorical
Well, with something
question.
like this, I mean, he wins a lot of arguments, but if I really care, my caring about something almost always I care more than
Stacey,
he does.
we know. Yes.
Come on, we know how that game's played.
Stacey cares, folks.
Stacey wins.
Cares. The new champion Instagram photo goes to, and I don't think this is a spoiler anymore, the new champions of the world and Lionel Messi. Campeones del mundo, goal! Of course, it was his penalty kick that won the game for Argentina, and it is now the holder of the new record for most Instagram likes. 70.7 million likes. 70.
Oh wait, after this story,
it is the number one sport on the planet.
Yeah, 3.5 billion people
Did you all watch the game?
No.
I watched I watched the penalty. I watched the last part.
I watched the whole thing. It was unbelievable.
Really, you enjoyed it?
I don't know from football. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was amazed.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Really? See, all I got out of it is now I understand why football's number one in the U.S.
It was so fast there in the last,
it got very
the last 10 minutes of regulation. Everything was happening so fast.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I tuned in towards the end and it was still tied and it was very exciting. Yeah.
I want to show you a really neat thread. Let me see. I'll put it in the chat.
By the way, the previous record holder, a stock photo of an egg. So don't get all excited, Lionel Messi.
Oh, I remember this. This was an ask. Okay, after this, can we do an ad? Because you told me this is how we measure how long the shows are.
Yeah, I'm going to do an ad right now. This picture of an egg has 58 million likes on Instagram. Beating Kylie Jenner's 18 million world record. Thank God Messi has now got 70 million. That's all I can say.
I didn't realize his age. I thought he was a little bit younger.
Oh, yeah. He's the old man. Yeah.
He's like Tom Brady, man.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought he was a little younger. So I was like, why is everybody just making it such a big deal?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's probably his last
chance.
Like,
Yeah.
My
magic.
dean, Graciela Moshkovsky, is a columnist for The New Yorker writing about Latino matters. And she wrote 2 columns about Messi in The New Yorker and explaining, and she's also Argentinian. And so explaining the meaning of this to Argentinian people and his meaning in wanting to give back to the country. It was just phenomenal.
That's
just
awesome.
amazing.
He has 404 million followers on Instagram, by the way. So he's underperforming. He should have more. The number one person on Instagram is his old rival, Cristiano Ronaldo. 520 million followers. But Messi's got the World Cup. And that's what
Ronaldo's already retired, right?
Yeah, I think. Okay. Mbappe is on the way up, though. Mbappe hat trick
is amazing.
Hat trick. Yeah.
But also, I put up a thread on Lines 85, which you may or may not care
about. We can't because Miss Stacy has said it's waffle time.
This is when you shake your head no, and I hear the bell, and then I'll stop. Yes. No, Jeff, no. It's the opposite of Pavlov. It's the no food for you.
I wore
Jeff.
this bell earlier on Windows Weekly, and Bert came running in with a giant wrench saying, "Crush the bell."
Is that the show title?
I am not crushing my bell. for anyone.
I like that he came in with the tool. He didn't just like say, this is a problem. He was like, this is a problem. And here's how we solve it.
Here's the solution right now.
It was this giant
Love that dude.
pipe wrench. It was huge. It's like, no.
Scissors might have done it.
I'm not crushing my bell for anyone. All right, actually, we have a sponsor for the show, and I want to welcome them because this is a company I've been working with for, I think, a decade, and I've been dying to get them on the air because I've been recommending them for free for years. One of my number one precepts these days is if you care about email, you should be paying for it. Free email is worth every penny you're paying for it in terms of support, in terms of quality. On and on and on. And if you're on Gmail and you lose your account, good luck getting it back. That's all I can say. That's why I've used FastMail for years. It's why I'm a huge FastMail fan. There's another reason you don't want to do free email. With free email, you pay with your privacy. For over 20 years now, FastMail has been a leader in email and email privacy. At FastMail, your data stays yours with better productivity features. And it's not expensive, as little as $3 a month. $3 a month is worth paying if email is important to you, to your business. If you care about your email, you need FastMail. And I love the features on FastMail. Certainly privacy is a big deal. Your personal data is stored in the U.S. I want to make sure you understand that. And it's fully GDPR compliant. It's kept away from third parties because FastMail's business is you. So they don't have to sell your data to anybody else. Plus, they give you the best spam filters. If you're a real geek, you'll really appreciate the implementation of IMAP. That FastMail is actually a leader in the open source community in IMAP, contributing back to Cyrus, their server, and to a lot of technologies. They lead the way, frankly. They also use Civ. You can do more automated email filtering for spam, but I love having absolute control with my Civ rules. They have fantastic filtering rules. It is the best email. And now with FastMail, you can use masked email, so you don't have to use your real address when you sign up for something. In fact, you can create unlimited aliases. One of the things I think a lot of people who use FastMail don't know about is that FastMail allows you to host your domain at FastMail. Now, I wouldn't put a website there, but with FastMail, I have maybe, 15, a dozen email services, email names, all of them hosted at FastMail. One of the reasons I like to use FastMail for that, let's pick one here, Leo.fm. For instance, that's my website. So I use their DNS. But one of the reasons I also like to use it is because now when email is sent to Leo.fm, it is using all of the most important, strong email authentication technologies. So FastMail automatically does all of that, DKIM and SPF and DMARC. So that means more mail is going to get through. Your mail is authenticated. It also means you have unlimited. Anything that's sent to any address at leo.fm comes into my inbox. So when I sign up for something, I sign up with a company's name. I can use random names. It means I can be more secure. In fact, it works with our sponsor, Bitwarden. You can create random names for every single account, which is like having 2 passwords, and Bitwarden will keep track of it. But it's not just about privacy and security. You can customize your workflow. They have a fantastic webmail client, one of the best I've ever used, but it also works with every other desktop mail client, Outlook, and I use MailMate, I use Apple Mail, I use a whole variety of stuff. It all works great with FastMail, but I think you'll like the web version as well. You can customize your workflow with colors, custom swipes, right and left. You got night mode. You don't have to use that, Jeff. They got day mode for Jeff. You can organize your inbox with scheduled send, which is fantastic. So send something, a week from now. You can snooze. You have folders. You have labels and folders. So if you like Gmail's labels, you've got that, but you also have folders, real IMAP-style folders, search bar, fantastic search. I never have to worry about finding old messages. I could just search for them very quickly and easily. You keep track of all of your important details in your life. And by the way, FastMail, because it's a real IMAP server, also supports contacts. It also supports calendars. One of my FastMail tips that I really love is I add anybody that I want to get mail from to my contacts. I mean, it's my address book. Why not? And FastMail, I can set up a filter so that if you're in my contact list and you send me an email, it goes right into the important folder. So I never miss email from people I know. That's by itself the single most useful filter ever. You can send and receive emails from any domain you own, right? So I have aliases for all my domains. You can manage multiple email addresses in one space. Works with Bitwarden. It works with 1Password, so you can create unique passwords and unique emails for every account. Desktop, mobile, what else can I tell you about this? When you download the FastMail app, you'll get the most out of your email. In fact, it's actually the best iOS and Android app. If you use FastMail, use their app because it's fantastic. I can go on and on. I'm such a fan of FastMail, and I have 10 years of pent-up wanting to tell you about FastMail. I'm so glad they're a new advertiser. I look forward to advertising all next year with FastMail. They have a U.S.-based support team. They're really good. Email experts. You know, you always wanted an email administrator who really knew what was going on and could explain it to you and you could say, well, can I do this? And they go, oh yeah, it's very easy. Let me set it up. I love that. The FastMail team believes in working for customers as people to be cared for, not products to be exploited. Advertisers, they're left out, putting you and your privacy at center. I use FastMail. I love FastMail. It's fast. It's easy to use. It cares about privacy. It's got all the tools I want. If you're a more advanced user, trust me, the sky's the limit. I use FastMail to the hilt. It's just the best. You'll never lose anything. It's easy to download your old data if you want, import it into your new FastMail inbox, and vice versa. So if you ever decide to leave FastMail, don't worry. It's not a trap. You can get everything out of it. They're constantly working on new internet standards, always open, by the way. Always standards-based. Frankly, other email providers are following FastMail's lead. This new year, new you, new email. Please do yourself a favor. Check out FastMail. Reclaim your privacy, boost your productivity, make email yours with FastMail. Just ask the geeks in your life, the nerds in your life. You heard of FastMail? I guarantee you, they'll all say, oh yeah, that's the best. It's the best. Try it free for 30 days. Fastmail.com/twit. FastMail.com/twit. And I love this. We were able to arrange with them a 15% discount on your whole first year. But you got to sign up now and you got to use that address. Fastmail.com/twit. I've been begging these guys. Let me tell the world about you. I am such a fan. Fastmail.com/twit. We welcome to our show, to Twit, and I look forward to a great year telling you all about the features. I said, can I do a FastMail tip of the day and stuff? And they said, yeah, you do whatever you want. So you're going to be hearing a lot more about FastMail, as if you hadn't already. Let's see. I want to give Mr. Ant Pruitt a moment of grief.
Yes, because last week, he watched. No funny hat's going to help Ant. Uh-oh. Last week, you gave me grief on the show for not being here. I heard you. I saw that.
Hey, you earned it. Did you not earn that grief?
I'm here all the time.
Ant. He's got it taped now, so it's coming down the side of his head like you're a one-eared basset hound. That is not a good look, Ant. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay, I'll adjust it. Hold on. Is it better?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Now you got to pass it out with a big tongue.
Pruitt.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, wait, no, that's where your actual hair is. Don't do that. Oh, it's not duct tape. Never mind. Okay, I was like, oh.
Not going to stick. Yeah.
So are you mad at Ant because what did he say? I don't even remember. He said something about you.
He said, oh, Jeff Jarvis isn't here. He's here, says he's here all the time. He's not here this week. I'm here all the time. 1 week I miss. 1 week. Leo goes off on vacations. You go off on vacation. I'm not here once for my job, and you give me crap for it. Huh.
Like I said, you earned it.
Yeah. But you got to be a low person to yell at a one-eared basset hound. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to prove I watched the episode, which was very
Thank
good,
you.
and I was pissed I wasn't there for the discussion.
No, we
chat.
missed you. And I have to say, this year you've been here a lot more than in past years where you would go
Stacey.
to Davos. And it's been Stacy.
Davos.
It's been
I'm not here
Stacy
more than
that's been
Stacy. Yes, let's be honest here. Let's say it.
AWOL. But Stacy is.
Oh, it's like AOL.
People. You're right. Stacy is AOL. You've got Stacy. No, I know that Stacy, because she actually works for a living, unlike Jeff and me.
Hey.
Has to go and
has a
do
job?
things, and you go to conferences, you do things. So that's fine. We're just glad to have you whenever we can. People were saying, "Is Stacy leaving the show?" And I just want to reassure you, no, you're not leaving the show.
Is that true, Stacy?
No, I'm not leaving the show.
Okay,
Or
we
yes,
love you.
Yes, I'm not leaving the show.
Yes,
I'm not leaving the show.
Good.
No, I have no bananas.
All right. Now everybody's gotten a heat now.
Things off their chest.
I will not be here next week. Though, I will tell you, because
No one will be here
I'm at
next week.
CES.
No one. Oh, you won't be
Oh,
here in
I
2
will-
weeks on January 4th. You're going to CES.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe
you
I'm at
could,
CES and I
Report in or something. No.
not during
got
like.
a
Have
lot
you
of
seen
appointments.
CES schedules? I mean, like
Yeah.
maybe if I can, I'll
Nah,
check.
it's
Maybe I
okay.
can do a walk-in like on my phone. I'll be like,
Yeah,
"Hi,
just
this
do a
is Stacey."
3-minute call.
That would, you know what? If you did a
Stacey,
walk and
that'd be
talk
cool.
on the show
Actually,
floor,
that would
that'd be
help
really
us.
Cool. Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Just a few minutes.
Can test it out.
Just
The,
remember.
the show floor isn't open on the 4th.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Wait,
While
but
we're
take
doing
us
this,
into the
I'm going to be.
casino.
it's open on Wednesday, isn't it? What? That's it. Normally is.
No,
No, they
okay.
shifted it.
Here's
This year
what's
they
happening.
shifted
They
it.
shifted it because New Year's Eve is on Sunday,
Okay.
and so
It doesn't start till Thursday
Year's-
the 5th.
yeah, and it only
Oh.
goes 3 days.
And there's nothing going on at this hour, is there? Because you could normally, you might be able to go to Showstoppers the night before a PepCom. Or,
Well, because I'm gonna at 2:00. I'm gonna be at Samsung's press conference or Samsung's keynote. Basically, it's their presser keynote where they go all crazy and Samsung-y. So after that, I could probably like dial in
just
and be
report
like,
in from the Samsung.
"What up?"
It was, it's like, I don't know, but I was watching, probably it was CNN during an election night, and the reporter was at the post-election party, and the candidate was speaking, and the reporter had their back to the candidate, is trying to be heard over the loud noises of cheering. I'm here at the. You could do it like that. I'm at the party. This Samsung. You couldn't even hear them.
I'll find a better lanyard mic. Maybe
Yeah.
y'all should say. I was like,
Yeah.
someone send me a recommendation and I'll pick it up.
Oh, we'll send you
I'm
some.
here at the Samsung show.
You don't need to send
And
me.
as usual, they're making.
I probably have a
themselves
few
up on
laying
stage.
around. I don't know.
Because I mean, I can just order it. I just don't know. Like y'all do this for a living, so y'all know what's good.
What else? What else is in the news that we should? It's Public Domain Day every year on the 1st of January. Duke University, the Center for the Study of Public Domain, tells us what stuff is going into the public domain. January 1st, works from 1927 and earlier, of course, will be open to all. And actually, we're starting to get to the era where there's some really good stuff. Now that, Disney is not extending copyright
The mouse?
well into the future.
We have Yes, We Have No Bananas.
Yes, we have no bananas. Let's see. To the Lighthouse, that classic Virginia Woolf. Oh, this is the one I'm excited about. Much of Sherlock Holmes,
The
anyway.
last of Sherlock Holmes. The last of it.
The last of it. So
Yeah.
I've been thinking that might be kind of fun to do a reading of all of the works of Sherlock Holmes, since
You'll still get taken down for it, I guarantee.
will I?
Try it.
You think
I
they're?
don't know.
I'll
I'm joking.
try it. We'll see. Willa Cather, A.A. Milnes, Now We Are Six, the creator of Winnie the Pooh, Thornton Wilder's The Bridge of San Luis Rey, Ernest Hemingway's Men Without Women. It's the Jeff Jarvis story.
Hey.
William.
Hey.
No. Jeff and Leo story. William. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Agatha Christie, Edith Wharton,
What did I do to you?
Herman Hesse, Steppenwolf. I love Steppenwolf. But I think
that takes me back to my
Yeah.
hyper
youth.
serious teen years. Yeah.
I think the English
Without
translation
me.
probably still is in copyright, because it was probably
Probably,
subsequent to
that's
the
true.
German publication. Same thing with Kafka's America. Marcel Proust, the final installment of De la Recherche de le Temps Perdu.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say it in French.
Oh oui, très bien.
Nice.
Movies, Metropolis, the jazz singer. That was the first talkie. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wings, Academy Award winner. The Lodger, Hitchcock's first movie.
King of Kings with Cecil B. DeMille.
Oh, boy. That was an early... Thing is, it's 1927, so these are pretty early movies, right?
Yeah.
Musical compositions. The best things in life are free. Now that's true. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Putting on the Ritz. We can sing that. Funny face.
Wait. Howard Johnson? Like, really? Howard Johnson?
Yeah, he did.
Like the Howard Johnson?
I wonder, do you think it is about
Hojo's?
ice cream? They were famous for 28 flavors. Maybe. Can't Help Lovin' Dat Man and Old Man River from the musical Showboat. That's a different time, folks. Bessie Smith, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington. A lot of stuff coming into public domain. You want to hear I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream? Well, it's not public domain yet. Not public domain yet.
No, this Howard Johnson was a song lyricist.
Oh, okay.
Inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1970.
Okay.
Are you going to do my? You can play my favorite copyright story of the week of the year.
What's that?
I have on the rundown.
What's that?
Well, let's first. I want to do a quiz. Aunt Stacy, as the youngins here, do you know Tom Lehrer?
Oh, I love this story.
Negative.
Tom Lehrer.
Oh,
man.
At the bottom, Leo, I put up 3 direct links to 3 songs, one of which I sang in the 10th grade talent show.
So Lehrer, who was until his retirement a math professor at the University of California, Santa Cruz, just down the road.
Oh, I thought it was MIT.
Well, I think he may have been, but he ended up his career at UCSC.
Oh, okay.
Wrote so many great parody songs before Weird Al.
Brilliant.
Before
I did hear. Yeah,
before
I did
Alan
hear this
Sherman,
person.
there was in the 50s this guy named Tom Lehrer, and he has put all of his music, including the sheet music, into public domain. He's in his 90s now.
93, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a way of I don't know, of saying here, I'm done. You can have these. I'm sure he'd prefer to sell them.
It's great.
But, he's wonderful.
The most famous is probably Vatican Rag, line 124.
Shall I play that? I'll play a little bit
I think
of
so.
it.
You can now.
We know we
Public
can
domain.
now. He has on his website audio, also lyrics, sheet music for download. He says, get them now because I don't know how long this site will be up. And
So
there's
you can
often
download anything you want.
Yeah. There's often a live version and a studio version. Do you have a
I would do the live version of this
All
one.
right, we'll play the live version.
Another big news story of the year concerned the ecumenical council in Rome known as Vatican II.
This is how old this is.
Among the things they did in an attempt to make the church more commercial was to
Casey's
introduce
still
the
looking
vernacular
confused.
into portions of the Mass to replace Latin and to widen somewhat the range of music permissible in the liturgy. But I feel that if they really want to sell the product in this secular age, what they ought to do is to redo some of the liturgical music in popular song forms. I have a modest example here. It's called the Vatican Rag. First you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect.
Wow.
I actually, one of my favorites is, of course, his, and it's really kind of a tour de force, his periodic table of the elements.
That's amazing.
I'll play a little bit of this. He also has released the Aristotle version of that. So first, this is Tom Lehrer singing the periodic table of the elements to the tune of I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General.
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and gold, protactinium, and indium, and gallium. and iodine and thorium and thulium and thallium.
Amazing. He memorized that and does it all.
Yeah.
But he probably should have done the Aristotle version. It's a little bit easier going back a little bit in history. Let me see if I can find that. It wasn't on the site, was it, John? We had to find it on YouTube. Let me see if I can find the YouTube version.
Well, now you're going to get taken down.
Maybe not. This is Tom Lehrer, the kind of the original, the historic version of this song.
Thank you. You may be interested to know that there is an older, much earlier version of that song, which is due to Aristotle, and which goes like this. There's earth and air and fire and water.
It's a little shorter. You could everybody could memorize that.
Done.
Isn't that
The
great?
New Math,
Oh, so
Werner von
I wonder-
Braun, Pollution, great song.
So many great songs.
So as a youngin', I will say this reminds me of Yakko from Animaniacs. He had a periodic table song.
He probably was,
It was done.
Just copying Tom Lehrer.
So it's a similar,
Well,
I'm sure
folks
if
say.
anyone in the chat is like an
I can't play
Animaniacs
that
fan, I'm sure they're
because-
like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh, Warner
yeah,
Brothers would get us.
Yeah.
They would come after
This
you.
is the
But
one that Mr. Jeff Jarvis sang in his 10th grade talent show. Are you ready?
Time was when an American about to go abroad would be warned by his friends or the guidebooks not to drink the water. But times have changed, and now a foreigner coming to this country might be offered the following advice. If you visit American City, you will find it very pretty. Just two things of which you must beware. Don't drink the water and don't breathe the air.
Were you a radical, Jeff, in your youth? Is that...
Oh, yeah. I organized a moratorium march in my high school.
Oh.
I was a pure a-hole. I'm going to brag here. Very rare I do that, I know. In the 8th grade, the girls were told they could not wear pants. And I pushed them to have a protest wearing pants. And they all got called to the auditorium to get sent home. And I called in the ACLU and won.
Wow.
you had the ACLU on speed dial when you were in 8th grade?
I went
Did
to
we
the
have
phone
phones
booth.
back then?
I went to the phone booth, and my Republican father was not necessarily happy with me. And I had the number, and I picked in a lot of dimes, and I called the ACLU and told them what was happening, and that scared the administration. And the girls could wear their pants.
Baller.
Today, the boys would just wear dresses and just
Yes,
be like,
exactly. So yeah,
both are good.
Yeah, right.
I always realized, I knew from a young age that I could never run for president because back in 1972, when I was a high school sophomore, I marched in a protest against the Vietnam War. And there was a picture of me on the very front page, full color picture of me on the very front page of the Santa Cruz Sentinel waving a Viet Cong flag. So at that point, I figured there goes my political
It was
career.
over.
It's just, it's just a matter of opposition research away from falling apart.
You and Jane Fonda.
John Fetterman, speaking of left-wing politics, TikTok whisperer, article in the New York Times. Fetterman, of course, won as Democratic senator from Pennsylvania, flipping that seat. And it's because of TikTok.
Which the Republicans want to ban everywhere.
I wonder if that's why.
You think?
It cost
You
us.
think?
It cost us a seat. It's funny at this point. I think actually Twitter might be more of a threat to our political polity than TikTok. To be honest,
Hell yeah. Under Musk.
I guess we can do our very brief. I promise you, Elon rundown.
We need a song for the Musk moment.
The Musk moment.
I think
It's a musky moment in Memphis.
And everybody who pays for the club, they don't get that in the show.
No.
They get Musk-free shows.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That would really put the membership through the roof, wouldn't it? Promise you.
I'm a member.
No muff. Okay. First of all, details on the stalker incident that tipped Elon over the. I think, honestly, that's what tipped Elon over fully into madness. He
However,
heard that a stalker had attacked his child X. Good news, the child was alone, no parents with this, what is he, a 2-year-old? But he had his security detail with him. And so he was safe. But Elon said, you see, when you tweet my jet location, you're giving away assassination coordinates. That was the term he used.
It was 26 miles away from an airport.
And you see what happens. Well, now we know from the South Pasadena police that actually it wasn't anywhere. It was far from the airport. And the suspect, the police are investigating in this entire incident, is Elon Musk's security guy. The driver of the car, who apparently pulled his gun and threatened a random stranger at the gas station. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But you know what? Elon probably didn't know what happened. He just got a report back. Yeah, there was an incident. And so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. At that point, he immediately shut down, and we've talked about this. He shut down the Elon's Jet account. That guy, Jack Sweeney, Florida college student, moved everything to Mastodon, Instagram, and Facebook. And this is where your troubles began, because people started tweeting that. And Elon said, no, you can't tweet that. And he said, no more tweeting. He made it, every time you go to a Mastodon page, it says it's malicious. It's malware, which I find offensive. Twit.social is not malware.
And it also said that it's failed to send the tweet if you're on mobile.
Yeah, it will block the tweet. And then he took down journalists. We reported all this. Now, the first thing to understand is the journalists say we're still down. You may see our accounts on Twitter, but we cannot tweet. So,
no.
So I saw stories that they were back. Elon said they were back, but they say
they're shadow. What's the opposite of shadow banning? They're shadow penned.
Yeah,
they can't write.
Well, it's kind of what a shadow ban was supposed to be, although this isn't actually what Twitter did, but that you would tweet.
No, they can't even write.
But they can't even send something.
Shadow ban is you write and you don't know that
nobody knows. Nobody sees it. Yeah.
The tree that fell in the forest.
Then, of course, the latest. I think. Can you now put a link to Mastodon on your account? I think you can.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
you can.
Okay. The Join Mastodon account is.
I don't think
still,
you can put up a general link.
Join Mastodon account is back. That was blocked, so that's good. I did enjoy the article, the editorial written. I can't remember where it was. At Forbes, where the writer said that John Mastodon, the founder of a social media network, had been banned. They're creating a ton of memes about John Mastodon.
That's hilarious. There was a conservative writer who thought that it was John, when Join Mastodon was taken down, that it was a guy named John Mastodon who was the founder of Mastodon. So it was a whole mythology was born right there.
Yeah, but we had a lot of fun with it on Mastodon.
It was great fun.
Then Elon put up a... Pardon me?
Go ahead.
Then Elon put up a poll saying, well, should I step down as CEO? I obviously stung by a series of, events that really must have hurt him to the core. And I'll be honest with you, I'm starting to feel a little bit bad for him. The poll went against him, 57 to 43. Yes, you should step down. Has he stepped down yet?
No,
Not
he
yet.
said that when they find some schmuck who'll take the job, he will. But let's not forget that he also testified that he was going to because of Tesla.
Right. He's being sued by Tesla shareholders.
Where every word is that the Saudis said, stop this crap and leave. And
the Saudis, which are the number one investor in Twitter.
Yes. He will end up owning Twitter if he goes bankrupt.
Yeah. And by the way, that's the other thing he said is he says, I will resign as CEO as soon as I find someone foolish enough to take the job. Okay, but he'll still be the owner. And then he also said, after that, I'll just run the software and servers team. So I'm not sure exactly what he's giving up. But I guess he won't have the CEO on his business card. He'll probably still have Chief Twit on his business card. All right. Is that the full sum of the week in Musk, this week in Musk?
The full Muskie?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything? I am feeling sorry for him, Jeff.
No. He's launching Blue again for the $8, right? But he's charging $11 if you're on iPhone.
Oh, because
of the 30%?
Yeah.
Is it 30%? I thought Apple didn't let you do that.
They don't.
Well, he's Elon Musk.
Actually, they kind of do.
It's okay.
You just can't tell people about it. You can't say on your app, it's cheaper if you go buy it from the website.
Right.
So you can't do that. People do that. Spotify does that, frankly.
When he announced the whole, you can't put this link and that link and the other social networks out there, did you all hear any pushback about Truth? Was it truth.social or whatever it's called? Because that was on that list too. I just heard pushback about sharing Instagram and Mastodon.
Well, they also banned links to Facebook and Instagram,
but TikTok was not on the list.
Yeah, and Linktree and the other
Linktree,
which is a big deal for creators because very often you'll have a list of all your stuff on a link aggregate site. They blocked that as well. I guess that's all back. Yeah, I'm feeling sorry for him because I do feel sorry for him. I think he fell into this.
Oh, Jesus.
No?
I can't feel sorry.
Okay, you can pity someone for like being wrong, but when they have that much power and no one else has taken them out, you have to like. I could be like, man, that man is having some issues.
Yeah, that's why I feel sorry for him.
Should not be where he's
issues. Well, yeah.
I don't feel sorry for that.
His issues become our issues.
Did any of you vote on that poll of his about the whole stepping down?
I didn't even see it because I haven't been on Twitter.
For sure I did.
Okay. Because I wonder, like, what was the point of any of us normal folks that have no stake in Twitter or no employment ties, anything like that? What was the point of us voting on that? As if it would actually matter. You know, he's going to go somewhere when he's ready to go somewhere. He still owns the daggum company, and I think that was just theater. So why are we? I shouldn't say we because I didn't vote on it, but why are people still feeding into this person's ego? Is beyond me.
He's a narcissist, and we should probably follow the right rules for dealing with narcissists, and we are not.
Which is to ignore them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to ignore them if you love Twitter because, you know.
That's a segue into nothing.
Yeah. There's nothing more to talk about.
I could give you something.
Show's over. No, I just
we could
feel
come
like
back to that story that you launched with, the 3D GPT.
Oh, that was it. Is there more to say about that?
No. I don't know. Okay, fine.
I like this tweet. Congratulations to the inevitable next CEO of Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Marissa Mayer.
Marissa Mayer. Oh, that's hilarious.
That was my question to you all. Who would be good candidates for
Jason
this job?
Yeah, Jason would do it in a heartbeat. Elon has surrounded himself with a lot of sycophants who would say, oh, yeah, I'll do it, Elon. I'll do it. Jason asked to do it. I think David Sachs is a more likely candidate, to be honest. Or Kayvon Bekapur, who is apparently also in the inner circle, right? He's a former Twitter.
After having been fired by Parag.
Right.
Well, I'm not saying who would likely get it because they're in the inner circle. I'm saying who would be an ideal person to run that company.
Kayvon would be good. He's the former head of product at Twitter.
Okay.
But he had no authority. You'd be a fool to take the job.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute fool.
Yeah, the person who would take it would be more. But I have to say, when you read tweets from David Sachs and others, Elon's mother even tweeting in support of Elon. I mean, there are people who love Elon who would gladly do it to serve him.
That's his mom.
Well, his mom would be a good CEO.
She's a fashion model.
Crazy.
So there's no one on the outside?
Nobody on the outside. No, it's got to.
I would be the CEO of Twitter.
Would you? Would you do it? What would you do differently?
I would go in and do it. I love Twitter. Well, I don't know. I'd have to go learn all about everything that's happening, and then I'd figure something out. And I'd probably ask lots of smart people.
Yeah.
But
should the next leader be someone that is super technical or someone that is just pragmatic?
No, because Twitter's product isn't technology at all. Twitter's product is the people, the culture, all of that. That's the product. That's the thing that Elon didn't understand.
Because Musk comes in and the first thing he started talking about is I need to see your last handful of commits.
He misunderstood what he bought. He didn't understand that. Or he did understand it, but he did trying to cut costs dramatically, which by the way, he says we're going bankrupt. We only have $1 billion runway left. And I won't, I mean, if you love Twitter, I mean, this is sad. It's the end of Twitter. I don't see any way around it, right? Some people think it'll come back, I guess. What if you got somebody good in there? The problem is even before Elon, Twitter was failing. Twitter's been failing for years.
Twitter as a business has been failing for years. So and some of the things should have been done, but they probably shouldn't have been done quite so publicly and for the lulz, I guess, is kind of the feeling. Like, yeah, did he need to reduce staff? Probably.
Yeah. That's why I asked, should it be someone from the outside of the industry to come in and take over? Somebody that can just right the ship, if you will.
Well, let me ask a different way. Ant, let me try this on you, because I think we're getting stumbled because Elon's still there and still owns it. Let's say the company has gone bankrupt. Mm-hmm. Private equity has bought it from the debtors. Sane company. Then your question is, whom do they hire?
Yeah.
Who could run it without Musk? That's a different question. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Well, there's an entire stable of CEOs who do like bankruptcy, like who do that job. And that's a very different job than
it is.
Because the people the bank hires for that are not the same people you would hire if you were running a venture-backed company.
John J. Ray III, the guy who's in charge of FTX's, bankruptcy. He'd be good picking up the pieces of FTX.
I say we get Lori from Raviga.
Who's
Silicon Valley
Lori
reference?
from
Come on.
Yeah, Lori from
Valley.
Raviga.
Come on.
Yeah. Who's the guy who got into the car, got put in a box, and got sent off to an island? That was Gavin Belson?
Napoleon?
No,
that was his
Napoleon.
assistant.
Good history reference there. I wasn't talking Elba, but yeah, that's good. I like it.
You mean the head of Renault who went in the piano box?
Remember the guy at the beginning of Silicon Valley who had that car that was so thin he could drive it could drive through two cars? Not Ehrlich. Who was anyway? You get the idea. Doesn't matter.
All right, we're done with Musk.
Sorry for the.
That was the Musk bit. I just did want to say, I'm now actually starting to feel bad for the guy because it's just not going.
You said it 5 times. I'm sorry.
It's not going well.
No.
It's not going well.
Well, he did it to himself, and he's a schmuck, and he's bringing in racists. He's bringing in there's no feeling sorry for Elon Musk.
Now
what? Hold on. Hold on.
Oh,
what do you mean by that, Mr. Jarvis? He's bringing in racists.
Oh, he's bringing in the worst of the worst who were taken off of Twitter for good reason, and they're back. They're terrible people saying terrible things. No, he's.
I don't think any of them ever left, quite frankly.
Well, some of them were banned. I mean, maybe they had private.
I've seen the same old crap show from day one, whether he was there or not. Honestly, I don't think that's got anything to do with Musk. That's the platform.
No, he literally unbanned about
he did unban some people, but there were still just as many crappy accounts out there and bots that he complained about prior to buying that are still just doing their God's work, if you will.
He is now using his pulpit to attempt to shoot down the $1.7 trillion Reconciliation Act that Congress will almost certainly pass. But he's got a poll. He said, by the way, for in future, only Twitter Blue people will be allowed to vote, which of course is very much like a poll tax, I think, where you pay to vote. We've tried that, I think. Anyway, I don't care. I honestly don't care. I feel bad for him.
You were done with Elon.
He's a guy who's troubled.
Stacey says,
I just want you to know I feel. Have I told you I feel bad for the guy? I feel bad for the guy. Hey, everybody, it's Leo Laporte, the founder and host of many of the TWiT podcasts. I don't normally talk to you about advertising, but I want to take a moment to do that right now. Our mission statement at TWiT, we're dedicated to building a highly engaged community of tech enthusiasts, that's our audience, and you, I guess, since you're listening, by offering them the knowledge they need to understand and use technology in today's world. To do that, we also create partnerships with trusted brands and make important introductions between them and our audience. It's how we finance our podcasts, but it's also, and our audience tells us this all the time, a part of the service we offer. It's a valued bit of information for our audience members. They want to know about great brands like yours. So can we help you by introducing you to our highly qualified audience? And boy, you get a lot with advertising on the TWiT podcasts. Partnering with TWiT means you're going to get, if I may say so humbly, the gold standard in podcast advertising. And we throw in a lot of valuable services. You get a full service continuity team supporting everything from copywriting to graphic design. I don't think anybody else does this or does this as well as we do. You get ads that are embedded in our content that are unique every time. I read them, our hosts read them. We always over-deliver on impressions. And frankly, we're here to talk about your product. So we really give our listeners a great introduction to what you offer. We've got onboarding services, ad tech with pod sites. That's free for direct clients. We give you a lot of reporting so you know who saw your advertisement. You'll even know how many responded by going to your website. We'll also give you courtesy commercials that you can share across social media and landing pages. We think these are really valuable. People like me and our other hosts talking about your product sincerely and informationally. Those are incredibly valuable. You also get other free goodies, mentions in our weekly newsletter that's sent out to thousands of fans. We give bonus ads to people who buy a significant amount of advertising. You'll get social media promotion too. But let me tell you, we are looking for an advertising partner that's going to be with us long term. Visit twit.tv/advertise. Check out our partner testimonials. Tim Broom, founder of IT Pro TV. They started IT Pro TV in 2013, immediately started advertising with us, and grew that company to a really amazing success. Hundreds of thousands of ongoing customers. They've been on our network for more than 10 years, and they say, and I'll quote Tim, "We would not be where we are today without the TWiT network." That's just one example. Mark McCrary, who's the CEO of Authentic, he was actually one of the first people to buy ads on our network. He's been with us for 16 years. He said, and I'm quoting, "The feedback from many advertisers over those 16 years across a range of product categories is that if ads and podcasts are going to work for a brand, they're going to work on TWiT shows." I'm proud to say that the ads we do over-deliver. They work really well because they're honest. They have integrity. Our audience trusts us, and we say, this is a great product. They believe it. They listen. Our listeners are highly intelligent. They're heavily engaged. They're tech-savvy. They're dedicated to our network. And that's partly because we only work with high-integrity partners that we have thoroughly and personally vetted. I approve every single advertiser on the network. If you're ready to elevate your brand and you've got a great product, I want you to reach out to us. Advertise at twit.tv. So I want you to break out of the advertising norm, grow your brand with host-read, authentic ads on twit.tv. Visit twit.tv/advertise for more details or email us advertise@twit.tv if you're ready to launch your campaign now. People are dreaming about him, you know.
Let's move on.
I'm moving on.
More Musk.
People are dreaming about him. According to Bloomberg, there are people having bad dreams, a lot of them, about Elon Musk. Let me see if I can find this story. Are you yawning?
Yeah.
Is that a passive-aggressive
It is.
kind of a...
Where's the second
According to
commercial?
psychologists who specialize in
sick.
treating people suffering from nightmares and other sleep disorders, nightly visitations from Elon Musk are happening a lot these days. Such shared dream occurrences, which often happen during periods of instability, offer a broader insight into our collective psyche. When someone is in the press, it triggers a lot of dream images, said Gail Delaney, a Florida-based clinical psychologist and dream analyst. A lot of people are thinking about Elon Musk. He demonstrates the human lust for power, play, and creativity. He's also disappointed a lot of people. A search through Twitter confirms Musk is turning up constantly in people's subconscious right now, just as he is dominating
Like yours.
this week in Google. Ex-Google contractor settles lawsuit. This was, I thought, kind of interesting. Are you familiar
It's a weird story.
with the Fellowship of Friends?
Not Quakers.
Yeah. No, it's a obscure religious cult that apparently has had a lot of influence inside Google. This is the stuff of
Or one part of it.
conspiracy.
Interesting.
A former video producer for Google has settled a lawsuit claiming he was fired after he complained that a religious sect had gained a foothold inside a business unit of the company, the Google Developer Studios, which makes those videos showcasing the company's technologies. We've seen them. We've shown them. The suit claims the leader of the business unit, Peter Lubbers, longtime member of the Fellowship of Friends, hired many of the religious group's members onto the team as contractors, helped some advance to full-time positions, and gave work to many others when staffing company conferences and parties. Google confirmed the suit had been resolved and also confirmed that Mr. Lubbers was no longer employed by Google, although it declined to explain his departure.
Well, it's like Landmark and Keller Williams.
Well, it's, you know, it's like, I didn't realize this, but the Kelly company, you know, remember Kelly Girls? They don't call them that anymore, but Jeff and I remember it. Kelly Services, which is a well-known temporary company, was sued. Similarly, a former Kelly employee claimed the company failed to promote her because, unlike many coworkers, she was not a member of the fellowship. The court awarded her $6.5 million in damages. Lubbers came from Kelly Services. Now, honestly, this cult is not huge. The Fellowship of Friends describes itself as available to anyone interested in pursuing the spiritual work of awakening. This sounds good to me. 1,500 members around the world, 500 in and around Oregon House, California, which is...
I was going to say, this sounds so California.
It's very California. Yeah. And, you know, I don't think that they were like, they had some weird religious thing that they were trying to do with Google's video services.
He was just hiring.
He hired his friends, people he knew.
That was the issue.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a weird story. New York Times covering it. Did I mention that Elon Musk is seeking new investors for Twitter? Had I mentioned that?
What do you think of Elon, Leo?
I feel sorry for him.
You're a schmuck.
Have I said
you're
that?
Pay the
I do.
You know what? You're going to pay the $8, aren't you?
No. I don't feel that sorry for him. I just feel bad. The poor guys. I feel
Only
bad for
$6
Ye as well. Yay. I feel bad. I mean, you know, they're going through something and it's going through it in public. It's hard. It's hard. And I think he genuinely thinks that people are trying to kill him. I do now realize that's why he doesn't have a house, right?
I do feel sorry for him if he's, you know, concerned about his security for his family.
Yeah, he's worried. I don't blame him.
I'm empathetic about that, but some of the other crap that
narcissists do turn to paranoia. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think the whole world revolves around you, then...
Exactly.
Well, the whole show revolves around me. I can't speak for the world.
Oh, well, yes. That is true.
Tell it, sir.
We know it's not a democracy.
When I quit my radio job, which my last show was on Sunday, I was very proud because somebody wrote a little blog post about how they visited the cottage and stuff. And it was a very nice blog post.
It was very nice.
And it got on Hacker News.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the title said something like, "In Memoriam for Leo Laporte."
Oh, no.
And people thought I died.
Oh, no.
Which was kind of cool because I could see what people would say when I died.
Yeah, you got a Mark Twain moment.
I got a Mark Twain moment.
Yeah.
I did, and then I immediately said, you know what, I'm not dead, and to reassure them. But people said some very nice. There were some mean people, said some mean things, and there were some people said I was too big for my britches, things like that. So I know when I die that there will be some people who say nice things, there'll be some people who say mean things. But I feel sorry for Elon Musk. I'm just saying that. John Carmack is leaving Meta after more than 8 years. He's a contractor at Meta, but he is widely loved as the creator of Doom, a brilliant programmer who then started to work with Palmer Luckey at Oculus. When Oculus was acquired by Meta, he moved over to Meta, then Facebook. And he posted a post on Facebook in which he said, I have to leave. He said Meta, which is in the midst of transitioning, as you know, from a social networking company to one focused on the metaverse, was operating at, quote, half the effectiveness, has, quote, a ridiculous amount of people and resources, but we constantly self-sabotage and squander effort. It has been a struggle for me. I have a voice at the highest levels here, so it feels like I should be able to move things, but I'm evidently not persuasive enough, and quit. He was, you know, Mark's right-hand guy on in VR, I guess. Although, according to the Times, sometimes a dissenting voice about how the effort was going, he became known for internal posts that criticized the decision-making and direction set forth by Mr. Zuckerberg and Andrew Bosworth, Meta's chief technology officer. Carmack was a consultant part-time.
Is his stance just he's against this whole metaverse push? It's
Now you look like a chef whose mustache is migrated to the top of his head. It's like
that hair transplant didn't work out so well there,
so
did
good.
it?
It works so good. Anyway, I think
This whole show should be about ants.
Ant's hat.
Where's Ant's tape at the moment? Ant's roving tape.
Where's Ant's hat? All right.
Oh, but I didn't hear your answer. Now that I think about it,
What was your question again?
Did you feel sorry for Elon Musk?
Yes,
is his stance that he's against the metaverse push, or does he have something?
I
else in mind?
I have a theory, but I don't know if this is true. And I think we were talking about this on TWiT. That notice that he was all about VR, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying the company's not doing well with VR. The Quest Pro should have come out years ago. But I think metaverse, I don't know, is it VR or is AR the future? And I'm wondering.
Sounds like it was going to be AR, right?
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe he doesn't like that direction. I don't know.
Those artists, they hate compromise.
Yeah.
And AR is the ultimate compromise.
It is, but it's going to be the only way VR has a shot, if you ask me.
Well, right.
If at all.
Hey, speaking of Instagram, they have finally, Instagram hacking is always, God, it was one of the things I'd get calls all the time on the radio show from people who's lost their accounts. Lisa lost several of her accounts. Yeah. Instagram has, I don't know how well it will work, but it's a response anyway. They're adding new ways for tools to recover their accounts after being hacked. Instagram.com/hacked. They'll have a feature for reporting and trying to resolve account access problems.
What would happen if Meta pulls a Google and says, you know what, dadgummit, you better put 2FA on these accounts. Period.
You should. You can. They should. I mean, Google still doesn't make people, do they? I mean, they have made.
I thought
it forced it to
for your email and stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
good. All right.
I thought they forced it.
Yeah, they do.
this year.
Everyone should force it, especially for services that people find valuable.
Right.
Because it's not convenient, but my God, y'all, you just got to do it.
Yeah. What if Meta forces people to do this? I wonder what the hurdle would be, because Instagram users are more like quote unquote normal people, not a bunch of tech nerds.
I feel like it would educate them.
That's what I would hope, considering some of the phone calls and messages I've gotten in the past about I can't get into my account or I was hacked. And I'm like, cool.
Well, and if they did so I remember when Fortnite did their special dance for people, like you could unlock a special thing. MailChimp, when I did 2-factor on MailChimp, they offered me a 10% discount. Instagram could offer like a compelling feature or something, like a filter. I don't know, just something. And so enabled 2-factor and then pay some money to some influencers to use that filter, and then everybody would do it. I mean, it's not hard to gamify 2-factor.
Mm-hmm.
Washington Post.
There, we talked about Google.
There. Done.
Wait, y'all, I got to be real.
Be real, man.
I'm going to fade in soon.
Good, we're
I'm
almost
not trying
done.
to threaten y'all.
No, we're done.
Okay.
I have two more things.
I'm just oh man.
Look at her
Two more
eyes.
things.
Look at her eyes.
This will perk you up.
It's been a hard day.
This will perk you up. Festivus is Thursday? Today's Festivus?
It's also the solstice.
Happy Festivus. Here's a bear rubbing himself up against a Festivus pole.
And you don't like the things I put up on the rundown.
Happy Festivus.
Oh my gosh.
Are you grateful for that?
Are you going to rub yourself up on that Festivus pole?
I
Because
have
I need
a
to.
Festivus
I need to
pole.
leave before that happens.
Please don't.
The airing of grievances will commence. Festivus is today and solstice today. So happy winter. What time?
Sweet.
Winter. 1:47 was solstice today.
3 hours
What
ago.
time zone?
Wow. Happy winter. It felt like winter for the whole week. So finally.
Sure did.
It's dark here.
It's going to be 8 degrees here tomorrow.
Did I show you the bear rubbing
like
up against the
17
Festivus
now.
pole?
You're welcome.
Watch that again. Thank you. Thank you. Now we know what the Festivus pole is for.
And this comes from being on Mastodon.
By the way, Washington Post is going to open
segue.
Mastodon instance.
Update. Jeremy Bowers says they're considering it. I think he probably got ahead of his bosses a little bit. I think I'm going to bet they probably will, but he wasn't announceable. They're doing other good things.
What's the case, Jeff, for a media outlet to have their own Mastodon service?
There's some debate about
You couldn't do that on Twitter, and Twitter, everybody had to post on Twitter.
Only one place.
And one of the things people miss from Twitter is that centralized place where you get all your news.
So there's arguments against it. There's arguments that say, well, no, the journalists should have their own place wherever they are. But one, it can take portability of one's identity and social graph elsewhere if you quit the place. And so you own your own identity, which is important. I think that for the place to share the load, as you do, Leo, by having twit.social, you're sharing the load in a federated world. And media outlets are going to benefit from Mastodon. They should join in. The Post is doing other things you'll be proud of. They are going to put rel.me on all of their authors' pages, so authors at the Washington Post can verify through the Washington Post.
Anywhere. So even if they were on my Mastodon instance or some other, they'd have a green box next to their name and their Washington Post link saying
so
they
Jeremy
really do work for us. Yeah,
is on journal.host, but you can put rel.me at the Post and say, I am really that.
Yeah.
And then they've also already put a Mastodon button on the reporters' pages.
So when you
go to their page.
Wow.
Now, what I really want, but I think it's probably technically impossible, you tell me, I would love for next to the share on Twitter, share on Facebook, et cetera, to be a share on Mastodon button. Problem is, of course, if I come along as a reader and I click on that, the Post doesn't know what instance I'm on.
Yeah.
Would it go to Mastodon? So it couldn't then go to mastodon.social versus twit.social because it doesn't know what the reader's on. But I really want that share button there, and I want it to displace Twitter. I think there's probably a way to figure it out.
I'm not sure so you're saying I'm reading, unfortunately.
You're reading a Washington Post story.
This is a story. She's got email. She's got Twitter. She's got Insta.
Well, there's also,
she's got
one
RSS.
of the guys who got go to Taylor Lorenz.
Taylor Lorenz. Okay, there you go. That's a good.
Well, the other one who got
Drew
banned,
Harwell
has
was
it on there.
Yeah. So if I let's search for Taylor.
Let me see the other guy who was on there.
Was that Drew Harwell?
Yes, Drew Harwell. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Look at his page.
So first I'll go to Taylor because I can't change. She doesn't have Mastodon on here either, so they need to.
All right, well, go to Drew.
Maybe it's in the article. You think it's at the end of the article?
No, I don't think so. No, because it's from the author page. Go to Drew. Can't you go to Drew?
Yeah, I can go to Drew. Just be patient. Slow down, buddy. I only got one pair of hands here. Drew, because he was booted. He was one of the booted off folk.
I think he's still not allowed to post. I think he's one of those.
Yeah. Okay. Musk blamed a Twitter account for. Okay, so this is the story he did with Taylor that got him
his
booted.
Author page.
That got him booted. Now I'm going to click his name, and there's his Mastodon.
There's a Mastodon button. That's going to go to his Mastodon profile.
Yeah. Right? So this is one of the problems with Mastodon.
That's a set address.
There is a follow, but this is the problem: is unless you're on that server, this is a two-step process. You have to copy that link.
There's a really neat plugin,
and then you have to go to your server. You have to log into your server. You have to paste that link in here, hit return, and then it will search for it. And I'm already following him, but then you will see his account, and you could follow it from there.
There's a nice Mastodon plugin that son Jake sent me to, where it will automatically do that for you.
Yeah, this is actually there's a Google tie into that. That's the guy who did Inbox. So he wrote a little JavaScript plugin for Chrome that nicens Mastodon. That is one of the problems with Mastodon is it's tricky to follow, but you can do it.
But here's the other question. I'm on a story. I want to share. I'm on a Washington Post story. I want to, with one click, share it on Mastodon. I want to go to Mastodon and have the link go there and populate with a card and a
That's up to the Post.
On Twitter.
That's up to the Post.
Well, no. I don't think it is.
Yes, I can tell you it is.
Well, but here's the question. How would it know if you and I want to do the same thing?
Watch.
How would it know that for you've got to go to twit.social? For me, you've got to go to mastodon.social.
Watch.
Okay, good.
You want to see? Here I am Here I'm on Advent of Code, and I want to share my results. So let me go back to, I solved this puzzle. So at the bottom, where it would say share on Twitter, which in fact it does, but I can also share on Mastodon, right?
Ooh, so do that. Okay.
Click that. Now it says, well, where do you live on Mastodon?
Okay.
Twit.social. That's the one hard part. And now here's a pre-filled post, and I can add to it.
Okay, I'm going to
It's what you want. So it is possible to do because advent of code, which is the great Eric Wastel, he does an amazing job with this.
That's pretty cool.
This is the coding puzzles that a lot of us on the TWiT Discord are doing right now. You can see I'm way behind. I'm 10 days behind now. But that's because I gave up on trying to do it all in real time. But yeah, so it is doable. It's totally doable. And I think there's that extra step. You have to say which. See, that's the weird thing. People go, well, Twitter's Twitter, right? So you don't have to enter twitter.com. Mastodon's not. Everybody's on a different server, but I can follow anybody on any other server. The follow is really the biggest problem right now.
Right. Well, what I really want, I just want to stay on the share thing for a second. I like the cards on Twitter, and I would love it if it would populate.
That's a web standard.
The link. That's a card, and the card should come with, because it's Mastodon standard, alt text.
Alt text, yeah.
And then it goes to Mastodon.
That's all a web standard.
I can almost retweet the article with a comment on top.
Remember, Twitter used to do that, right?
Doesn't it?
That's a web standard. It has nothing to do with Mastodon or Twitter. Mastodon
the papers have to.
They have to properly
material
format.
Up.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yes.
They have to properly format the share. And as you can see,
the card is a standard. Okay.
Advent of code has done that. And so, yeah, you can totally do that. That's not a hard thing to do. But I agree. Mastodon.
Yeah, that's great.
Mastodon is not as easy as Twitter. It's not Twitter. It's decentralized. To me, that's its strength.
All right.
Because no one can buy it. No. By the way, the EU is creating its own Mastodon instances, which I think is fabulous. I think you're going to see that's one of the opportunities, I think, because it's decentralized, is that a media company can have its own server for its own people. A government
or its community as well.
Yeah.
Right. I think SFBA is one, right? And the San Francisco Standard, the head of that called me and said, should I start an instance? I said, you just got to want to do some moderation.
Right.
But
Mozilla's creating one. Vivaldi, the browser, has created one. I think this is going to. I think these young guys at Mastodon.
This has legs.
It has legs.
Well, the other thing,
could work.
The EU is also investing money into various Fediverse apps, in PixelFed and in others.
Yep.
So they're so happy that something came out from someplace from Germany and someplace other than Silicon Valley. They're putting their money up, which I've said for years and years and years. Stop whining that you don't have Google. Invest in your own startups. Figure it out yourself. And so this is good. More competition. It's a wonderful thing.
Yep.
Rather than regulating, invest in innovation.
Let's wrap this beautiful puppy up put a bow on it. It's the last show of the year for me and for you all.
Ring your bell.
And we, again, just a reminder, won't be here next week, but we will have a wonderful best of episode.
Great stuff. I looked at the rundown.
Oh, yeah, it's fun. It's some really fun stuff from all year long. And then we'll be back January 4th with the very first This Week in Google of the new year. Stacey Higginbotham, so nice to have you. What is your thing this week?
Well, it's kind of... This is not something I would recommend, but I also bought it for something. I'm just going to tell you about it because it's a device and you might see it and wonder, how's that?
Okay.
This is the Theragun Smart Goggles.
Now, I have a Theragun, which I love, but I didn't know you could put it on your face.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a Theragun for your face. Hold on. Here
Holy cow. So the Theragun that I have is a pneumatic device that pounds my muscles. Does this pound your face
percussion?
Muscles?
It does.
Percussion.
All right.
Not as hard, I presume.
Percussion
I wouldn't.
No.
therapy.
So what this?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to
this is,
percuss my cheekbones. That would hurt. Go ahead. So is this for
let me tell you
migraines or
about this? So I bought it for migraines. Here's what it is. For $199, there is a 60-day return policy, which is why I did buy it. It is a pair of goggles that you wear. It has a sensor on the inside. There it is. Oh, sorry. I'm covering up the sensor. That is supposed to match the vibrations. So it vibrates, it heats, and it has these little like shiatsu knobbies that knob. And the sensor matches the vibrations to your heart rate. The idea is this will relax you quickly and put you to sleep. I'm going to sneeze in a second.
Oh, so you'd
Sorry
wear
about
it going to bed?
You wear it to go to bed or whenever you want to. They have 3 settings that are pre-programmed. One is...
That's my
She has
favorite
the
setting.
cutest-
Can I have that
yes.
setting? The achoo setting?
The best.
Sorry. There's the,
Never apologize for your sneeze, Stacey.
the focus setting,
You
which
can
is
go-
like
you
if
can
you
do it on
want to,
stage.
if you want to focus. Oh, there it is. Look, there's the relax setting, which is just vibrations. And then there's the sleep setting, which is vibrations and heat.
This sounds good.
Yeah, that does.
Here's the verdict after a week of using it. I got it because I thought maybe it would help when I feel a migraine coming on, not in the throes of one, obviously.
Yeah.
It didn't work for that. And what I found was the percussive stuff, it percusses right here, under your eyes. It percusses kind of in your temple area around your eyes. And then in the center, it's a little off center for me. So when it tried to percuss here, like not much happened, but that could also just be Botox. I don't know. I couldn't feel it. It's like,
There's that.
Does Botox make
But-
you numb?
No. If you walk up to me and do this, I can feel it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just teasing. I'm just having fun.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah. It does not make you numb.
Okay.
Anyway, so the headache stuff did not work for me. The relaxation stuff was actually nice. And like the heat on your eyes, like, you know how sometimes you'll rub your hands together and you'll do this and your eyes, you stick it to your eyes and then they relax. Okay. For people listening, I just rubbed my palms together and stuck my palms over my eyes.
I was
'cause it
taught to do that
relaxes your eye
by
muscles.
my optometrist. Yeah.
So this is like that. And it's like 15 minutes of that.
This is really good.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very relaxing.
So that's nice. The percussion, it just kind of like squeezes in.
Oh, good. It
And then
doesn't
it goes-
tap.
No, it just, and it's like a wave pattern. So it squeezes in at your temples, then it unsqueezes. Then it squeezes in at under your eyes, on top of your cheeks, and then it unsqueezes. And then it unsqueezes in the middle, and it unsqueezes. I kind of wanted some like shiatsu rubbing action happening. That felt like it'd be nicer, but it was fine. And then the vibrations are also fine. The heat was probably the nicest thing. So if that's your thing, just buy like a $20 heating thing. And
Yeah,
stick
you
it
can
over
put
your
one in a
face.
microwave that warms it up, and then yeah.
But if you see this and you've got $200 and you're like, maybe some people on Reddit said it did help their headaches. I mean, there is a 60-day return policy.
Unfortunately, you can't get it till January 24th on Amazon, because I thought this would be a nice Christmas gift, actually.
I don't know how I would react if someone gave me this for Christmas. I'll be
Oh,
honest.
it's thoughtful. It's like, I care about you.
When I give
want
you a headache, use this.
Yeah.
He says to Lisa.
Yeah.
You don't think this would be
So-
good for Lisa? We already have the Theragun that pounds your thighs.
Yeah. Oh, in my
Those things
child,
are
I should
great.
say,
I love them too.
I
Yeah.
put I love them too. Yeah. The sensor, my child said the sensor, it has a little red light because it's tracking your heart rate using LEDs.
Oh,
They said that they found that distracting. I did not notice it. I was like, you're supposed to close your eyes. And they're like, I did, Mom. But
wait a minute. You have more than one child?
no, I just have one.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that's the deal. And
I want these. Yeah, these look great. Thank you. Now go away. Go relax. Take a nap. Have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas. Are you doing anything fun for Christmas?
We are sleeping here. Oh, you know what? I have
Sleep.
Snoopy.
Snoopy. Da 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 da.
Will we get taken down if I play it?
Go ahead, play it. I don't care. Screw YouTube.
All right, here you go.
Da,
Ready?
da, 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 da. Oh, he dances.
Look at Snoopy.
Oh. You know what? That sounds so crappy. I can't imagine us getting taken down. If we got taken down by the Vince Guaraldi estate, that's awesome. Do they
Nice
have
one, Miss
a
Stacy.
little Woodstock bird that can dance with him? Because that would be really cute.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
No, in my house, the rule is when that plays, and anyone can play it at any time,
Yeah.
we all have to stop and dance.
Oh, I love it.
Very effective.
I want to move with you. I want to move in. I want to dance. Stacey, have a great Christmas. Take care.
Y'all too.
Thank you. Jeff Jarvis, number of the week.
Well, I got to ask you this question. So the New York Times did one of those we don't understand the rest of the country stories, and I wanted to see from you guys who actually know. They declared that San Francisco streets are empty.
The new
I'm the
Des
one who
Moines.
decided. I said that. It's like the new Des Moines. I was in Des Moines once, and there was nothing there. Nothing. No one was on.
That's because they're all in tunnels underneath the ground and above the
it's cold
street. It's
so
cold.
is that an accurate view?
I
San
haven't been
Francisco
there in
these
a
days?
while. I'll tell you. It's accurate.
Well, maybe that's why.
It's accurate, says Benito. Do you live in the city, Benito? He lives in the Mission, and it's just got really quiet now. Downtown. You know why?
Wow.
It's scary down there. People are pooping on the streets. They're yelling at you. They're breaking into cars.
This is the financial.
I
district,
think they. Yeah, that's the other problem. Benito's saying there's nobody working there anymore either.
nobody working. That's the real issue.
But I think it's also, as a tourist, I don't want to go there. Maybe I'll go to, the outskirts of town. But
the thing that San Francisco always did brilliantly was that it ghettoized the tourists.
Right.
No San Franciscan ever goes to Ghirardelli Square.
No.
Never.
Nor Pier
But
39.
tourists think that's real
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Right.
They have the Irish coffee and they think they're living the San Francisco life. And it's brilliant, right? It pushes them off in the corner. Oh, Fisherman's Wharf. Yes, you'll love that. Yeah, we all go there all the time. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I went there once. I was like, okay.
I went there to see the seals. No, are they seals? What are those?
Pier 39,
Yeah.
Fisherman's Wharf.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was lovely.
Yeah.
But you didn't go there to buy a hat or something or a piece of art.
They sell art. No, I went to see the
Bad
seals.
art. Yeah.
Bad art.
No, but you could get cotton candy and ride the merry-go-round and stuff. I think it's all right.
There was a merry-go-round?
Oh, yeah. On Pier 39. Yeah. Next time. When
Pier
you
39 is like the worst.
It's a little crowded. Lisa and I and Michael went there during COVID. It was so terrifying. It was so scary, but it was crowded. It was very crowded. So I have a feeling they're talking. Yeah, this is the downtown area, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a financial district.
Benito, that's good. You live in Des Moines now. The Mission is probably still pretty vibrant. I think the Mission. Yeah, the Mission's kicking. Yeah, I love the Mission. All right, there you go. There's a number 0. Aunt Pruitt, pick of the week.
I got 2 because there's some holiday deals. Sony has some holiday deals going on some of the camera bodies, and I
Alex
pointed out
Lindsay
2 in
showed a
particular.
$10,000 Sony camera on MacBreak Weekly yesterday.
Oh,
there a
man,
deal?
the Venice.
The new PTZ camera.
Oh, the PTZ.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I love
These
my-
are ones
I love
that
my
are-
Sonys. Yeah.
These are a couple years old, so they're really, really inexpensive right now. One of them is a point and shoot. The ZV-1 is.
This is the vlogger camera,
$700.
I've wanted this
And
camera
yeah, it was
for a
pretty
while.
solid.
Yeah.
And then there's the A7C, which is a full frame camera, but it's really, really tiny. So if there's somebody that's wanting to upgrade to full frame, I think it's a pretty nice camera. It's not my cup of tea because it's so daggum small, but you still get a really nice Sony sensor on it. I think it was about $1,500, $16. I can't remember how much money, but it was a
It says
nice
18
discount
on your
one.
website.
18.
What is a full-frame camera?
Oh,
The
Stacy.
sensor is larger in a full frames, essentially like a 35 millimeter.
Same size
sensor,
as a
but then
piece
you
of
have
35 unit piece of film. The bigger the sensor, the more light it can gather, the better the
more light
quality.
you can capture.
Yeah.
Right. So the faster you can. Okay.
Yeah, and also more pixels,
More pixels,
yeah.
larger pixels.
Pros
a 48
almost always shoot
megapixel full frame
full
doesn't
frame.
look the same as a 48 megapixel iPhone. It's
Right.
not the same.
Right.
It just doesn't look the same.
Right. You're
and then
a
Spider
Canon
Checker.
shooter, though, right? More than
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes,
like
sir.
Sony. I have a lot of Sony gear.
Sony's nice.
Yeah.
Sony's nice. Spider Checker. This reminded me I needed to get another one because Biscuit destroyed mine like an idiot. I had mine out on the floor and he got a hold of it. So folks that are in photography, get yourself a color checker because I'm seeing a lot of weird skin tones out there with some people's photography. And yeah, get yourself a color checker.
So this is like a card you hold up the first shot, and then that way you can do color.
Right.
I have a gray card I carry with me.
Gray cards will work too. And this actually will, I believe it has a gray card on the back side of it. Works very well. You can install the data color software with your, well, not software, plug-in with your editing software, and it'll help do all of the calibration and get you squared away.
Oh, so that's nice. So this works with its Spider. So yeah, Spider makes one of those things you suck onto your screen.
Yeah, you can put those. Yeah, I have one of those too somewhere over here.
Oh, so this
Calibrate
can't
your
be too
screen.
expensive. This is it's a
No,
card
it's
with
like
colors.
Yeah, I think it comes with this little protective case.
It's like, have you seen the Pantone color palette?
Oh, that's expensive.
This one, I think is now marked down to $80 for the holidays, something like that. So,
Spider from datacolor.com.
Yeah. And I want to shout out, lastly, the local kids that are signing on National Sign-In Day. I've had the pleasure of watching Sai Vajrawali for the last 3 years play ball here at Rancho Cotati, who officially signed today with the Cal Bears, Berkeley Bears, to play football. So congratulations to that young man. And everybody else around the country getting an extra opportunity to.
He caught that ball with his thighs. That was a catch.
Yeah, they called it incomplete, and I remember thinking, I thought it with his thighs. That. And
you can catch a ball with your thighs.
Tape.
Yeah, he caught that.
It counts.
It controls it.
It didn't hit the ground.
His knees did, but
that's a catch. They ruled it incomplete because there's no instant replay in high school.
Yeah,
but today's a big day for a lot of kids getting an extra opportunity to further their education and get to play football at the next level.
So they find out this early in December what college they're going to be playing for. This is early.
This is early signing day. There'll be another signing day, usually in February-ish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
For people.
So this is people got early acceptance.
Season. Right.
Yeah. How exciting! Cal's a big.
I found the hat you should get in for Christmas on line 86.
Oh, good. Where is that? Line 86.
86, because he has such a sad effort with this hat.
This is the new. Then we're going to get you this hat, Ant. So you'll be ready for.
Oh, wow.
I actually might buy that for myself. That's pretty.
I think so.
I think my
this Etsy store has a lot of things you'll love.
Yeah, you should see the hat Andy was wearing on MacBreak Weekly yesterday. It was almost as dopey as this. This takes the cake.
Can we buy him a lute, too?
Yeah, that is awesome.
Go to the store.
The medieval chaperon.
All he needs is a fife.
Oh, he has a whole bunch of medieval hat crap.
Wow.
That's so good.
I like how serious he looks, even though.
Oh, you can twist it up that way.
Look at that. It's a turban. It's a hat.
Man.
So what is that?
The colors.
Stuff like at the bottom, is that like
a little
for a napkin?
trim?
What is that?
It's a napkin.
No,
trim.
the long strandy thing. What is that for?
When you're having that smoked turkey leg, you need to wipe your lips with
toss it over your shoulder to let people know you're a bard.
Yeah, I was just curious what the function of that was, because I'm sure it had one.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody, probably a scarf, right? Everybody forget you saw this, because I'm going to wear it next year. I don't want Jeff to get any credit at all. That is awesome.
Absolutely hilarious.
Oh, wait a minute. You have to sew this yourself?
What? Oh, no. Yeah, I'm out.
Oh, man. You got to sew it yourself?
Option? Wow.
Industrial manual I guess that's them. Maybe they're doing it.
No. Do you want it to be so authentic
that you do it yourself?
That they do their own sewing.
Hand sewn.
Surely they explain that.
Yeah, probably somewhere.
Oh, I see. You don't need it to be authentic.
No. There's all sorts of a Renaissance, medieval, elven, king, princes, men's circlet you put on your head. That's cute.
That's a men's?
I'd look good in it.
That's if you're...
It feels like a pretty generic thing, like men, women.
Honestly, any head could wear that. But heavy rests the head that lies the crown on the thing. So there. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the concluding moments of this fine program. We thank you so much for joining us. We encourage you to join us again when we come back. Of course, next week, a very nice best of. We'll be back.
Funny stuff. Lots of funny stuff.
Funny stuff. Speaking of funny
moral
stuff.
Panic. Lots of moral
That's
panic.
Jeff Jarvis, the director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University.
And googly eyes. Hilarity with googly eyes.
Is there googly eyes in the special?
In the rundown, it's there. Yeah.
How exciting.
And my Robo-Burger adventure.
Yes, that was a classic. Jeff Jarvis covered with grease. Stacy, thank you so much. Stacy on IoT.com.
Survive, Stacy.
You must read all her stuff. Join, subscribe, and of course, get her podcast, the IoT podcast with Kevin Toffel, who is also on Mastodon. And we will see you not next time, but maybe we will if you can call us from CES. But otherwise,
yeah. Ant sent me some mics, but Jehoshaphat's.
well,
They're $200 a
we
piece.
can send you a good mic. We could send you. We'll send you.
They work for $200. They better do more than what they better
good
massage
mics,
my
good
face.
A good mic's worth of its weight in gold. And Pruitt, twit.tv/hop, hands-on photography. He's not wearing a fish on his head, kids. That's his tongue. You can also buy his prints at antpruitt.com/prints. And he's the community manager at the best place, the happiest place on earth. No, I'm not talking Disneyland. I am talking our beautiful, wonderful Club Twit. If you're not a member, you really ought to be one. All you got
on Mastodon, a lot of folks said I'm a member of this club because I love Twit and I don't even care about the commercials. I'm not getting the commercials. I just want to support it.
Here's Ant's next hat.
Memes.
That's all in the club. Now, what do you get? You get ad-free versions of all the shows because you're giving us $7 a month, so we don't need to foist ads upon you. No tracking, no ads. You even get shows that we don't put out in public, like Hands on Windows with Paul Thurrott, Hands on Macintosh with Micah Sargent, the Untitled Linux Show, all those special events that Ant Pruitt puts together as our community manager. In fact, the next event is January 12th, Stacy's Book Club Project Hail Mary. We're going to do an Inside Twit.
Fleischman was awesome.
Fleischman's
that
great.
Chat was so much fun last week.
Yeah, Glenn Fleischman. So that's on the Twit Plus feed if you're a club member. All of this stuff gets on the Twit Plus feed. Win to Tao is going to be in February. Lisa and I will do an Inside Twit on January 19th. But you got to be a club member. Now, another good thing to know is it's $7 a month, but you can also get an annual membership, pay once every year. And that's a good gift. I'm just saying. Twit.tv/club twit to find out more. The club really makes a difference. We really probably wouldn't be doing the Mastodon without the club because the Mastodon's getting pretty expensive. Same with our forums, our IRC.
Do you use Mastodon.host?
I do. He's fantastic. Hugo, the guy who runs it. And all of our data.
Son Jake is talking to him. Yeah.
Good. Well, Jake's running his own instance, I saw.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and Hugo knows a lot about when the onslaught began, he shut down new subscribers, new customers because he couldn't support. We want to make sure he was.
Well, he also says he wants to handle no more than 25% of instances.
Yes,
because he doesn't want another monolithic being there.
I love
point
Hugo.
Of failure.
I love Hugo. He's been fantastic. It makes it very easy to have your own instance. I don't plug it because I don't think he wants new customers. But
he's not opening up again yet. But I think
Masto.host is the best way to host Mastodon. He's been really good. It's not hugely expensive. It's $350 a month right now, and I'm really only.
How many users are you up to now?
More than 5,000.
Wow.
If it gets much
last
bigger,
time I knew it was 2.
Yeah. If it gets much bigger, it's gonna probably have to go to another tier, kind of a custom tier. If you want to join, anybody's listening to this should and can, but tell your friends if they want to join. It's really for Twit listeners, not Club Twit, but just anybody who listens to Twit. So say I listen to the Twit, or I'm here to follow Jeff Jarvis or Leo or Ant or anything like that will get you in. If you just say I'm getting off of Twitter, I'm not going to approve your application because I just don't want to overrun by people who aren't Twit listeners. It's got to be a tight community.
It's the joy of the community.
Yeah.
Community,
but there are
baby.
5,000 plus instances. There's plenty of places you could go.
Yeah.
Don't
it blows
join.
my mind, and I see that I have 1,000 people following me over here. I'm like, wow.
Don't join the
y'all follow
big
me?
instances. Is my suggestion.
Like I did.
You're on Mastodon.social. That's 500,000 people. So
the local feed is useless to me.
Yeah, I go to somewhere where it's people that you know, or there's a San Francisco Bay Area instance, for instance. Go somewhere it's geographic.
SFBA.social.
Yeah, go somewhere for migraine sufferers, whatever it is. That's actually a pretty quiet instance. But anyway, there's instances for every.
Stop shouting.
Shh.
Would you all be quiet?
Everybody.
Jeez.
It's I have to say,
for the win.
Dark mode for all.
I always had problems with Twitter fights, and just it always made me kind of queasy. Mastodon's just, it's different.
I'm loving it. I'm
it's
just
really,
loving it.
There's good information.
I should have listened to you long ago.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like this long ago.
Wasn't this like this?
It was like the migraine one. It was very quiet, but it's got a little more interesting now. And follow people. Yeah. There are a number of good tools for using to follow people over from Twitter. Actually, Paul Theragun came up with a really nice one that Willow Ramus had mentioned on Mastodon. Let me see if I can find the name. Because what it does is it goes out, scrapes all the people off of Twitter, and you could follow them on your instance with one click of a button.
MoveToDon.org.
MoveToDon.org. Yeah.
It's brilliant. Yeah, he's great.
You have to sign into your Twitter account and your Mastodon account. So create a Mastodon account first.
It finds people who have mentioned a Mastodon address in their profile or a pinned tweet.
Yeah.
And unlike the others, which only give you a CSV of everyone, this lets you pick one off at a time of who you want to follow on Mastodon.
Yeah. And it does a really good job. It's
really slick.
If you are feeling like, I'm on Mastodon, but that nobody I know is here, just go through the process.
This gives you a starter kit of buddies.
Yeah. It scrapes it through, and you can see there's a lot of people. I'm following most of these. You can sort it by when they joined Mastodon, how long they've been on, or when they've most recently been active. So it gives you a really good idea of who you're going to follow. As you can see, I've followed everybody on here. Oh, here's somebody, James Cridland. Yep, got to follow you, James, podcaster. Connie Guglielmo, a regular on our shows, the editor-in-chief
from CNET.
of CNET. I thought I already followed Adriana Langston, so maybe
sometimes it does that. Sometimes it shows me places that I thought I followed.
Might be an alternate account. Some people have multiple accounts, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's very handy, and really you can really bring There's Kevin Toffel.
Forget the name of the guy to give him credit, but it's good.
Yeah. MoveToDon.org. Our Mastodon instance is twit.social. If you want to support it, we don't take direct donations, but join Club Twit. You'll be supporting it.
Yes.
Twit.tv/ClubTwit. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy your Festivus. Don't get too angry in the airing of grievances, but let them out. Let it out. You'll feel much better. Much better.
And then have a waffle.
And
life is good.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve. Hanukkah. This is the fourth night of Hanukkah. Kwanzaa. Or just celebrate the solstice. But whatever it is that you do at this time, this dark time of year, make sure there's lots of light, love, and family all around you.
And cookies.
And waffles.
Or waffles.
Yes.
Or donuts.
And have a happy new year, too. And we'll all be back next year. Thanks for joining us. It's been great being with you this year. We'll see you next time on Twig.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, my friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Don't miss All About Android every week. We talk about the latest news, hardware, apps, and now all the developer-y goodness happening in the Android ecosystem. I'm Jason Howell, also joined by Ron Richards, Florence Ion, and our newest co-host on the panel, Wen Tu Dao, who brings her developer chops. Really great stuff. We also invite people from all over the Android ecosystem to talk about this mobile platform we love so much. Join us every Tuesday, All About Android on twit.tv.
I am ready. I've got my festive hat on. I've got my...
Look at that jacket.
I got my festive jacket on.
Wow.
Doesn't really fit very well.
I got to be honest, Leo, that jacket may incite another migraine. I'm just going to be real.
It really is. It is it might be in me. All right, let's get going. Sorry we're so late. I apologize. But this is the last show of the year. Wait a minute. What does my hat say? Cat girl.
What does it say?
Cat girl. I thought this was a Christmas hat.
What did you grab?
I thought it was a MAGA hat because it's like camouflage and red.
Screw that. Let's put on a Christmas hat.
Oh, boy.
Wait a minute.
There we go.
It's not a Christmas hat. I don't know what it is.
Wardrobe
Maybe Aunt knows
malfunction,
because
sir.
it's got an N on it.
That looks like Nebraska.
Am I a corn husker?
Looks like Nebraska's in that red.
I'm a corn husker. All right. Well, I got some other ones. Wait a minute. This is good. This is a Santa hat.
There you go. Yeah, see, that fits
Santa
yarmulke like my stocking does.
Okay, that's not going to work. It's a good thing I brought a few of them out.
There you go. Your crown.
I don't know what the hell.
I mean, are we doing Alice in Wonderland after this?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, but he just has a whole bunch of hats just sitting there.
Yeah. Oh, I do. Oh, this is it. I got it now. There you go, Aunt.
That's what we'll do.
The camera's too low.
That'll stay on you. It's the other side of my cup. Oh, yeah. It's like I had the cup on my head. I don't know what this fascination is with Santa's lower half, but
this is gold.
I don't know what this is.
And what's funny is people tune in to watch this show.
I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, I got a message. Somebody watch. It says I stop in the middle of whatever I'm listening to when I get my twig. So, all right,
y'all.
That's not good either. I can't. There we go. Although
hilarious.
When I wore this
you
on Windows Weekly,
out of your head, Ant?
Bert came running in with a giant wrench and said, "You gotta cut off that ball." That bell.
Oh, that's right.
That bell is annoying.
Because that will drive us
Is that going to give
crazy.
you another migraine?
No, because if I feel anything coming on, I'll just
gone.
duck and go.
You're out of here. I won't do this. I promise.
Oh, he's going to shake his head at me. I know it.
No.